he was podcasting before he even called it a podcast.
Huffy Talk 2016. That's when live was coming out. At this time, I'm very active in social media. We should call it something, Smoke Talk or something, whatever, Somehow the name came up, Huffy Talk. And it was like, yo, what's up, man? Frank Downstar. Welcome to Huffy Talk. I'm your host, Frank Downstar, with my co-host, Huffy McHuffington. And then it turned into like, man, it would be cool if there was a guest on it. I had TJ Hunt, that dude in blue, Ron Bergenholtz, Steph Papadakis. You're on for an hour. Everybody's going to ask questions, and then that's it. Nobody knew even what it was. It just was. Going outside in the front, seeing like the pothole, laughing because people were crashing and wilding. These fools are wilding, bro. It was the wild, wild west.
Eat, Sleep, Raise podcast. We're here today with our special guest from the West Coast to the East Coast, my man Frank Downstar.
What's up, Brian? Thank
Welcome.
you for having me, bro. Thank you.
And we have our co-host today, Nick.
Nick,
no special names after his name. Let's get into it. Frank, you know what the first thing that comes to mind when I think of you?
I don't know, bro. What?
Manifestation.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
You know why? Because Frank, I'll tell a little bit. I feel like I know your history more than you do yourself.
All right.
So Frank, in his past life, was a Best Buy associate. In high school, in his yearbook, he was wearing a Downstar shirt, and he said something along the lines of like, he's going to have this brand. And now he went from being the Best Buy associate, told them to kick rocks, and went, and it's kind of crazy. I want to know why, went into this business of selling bolts.
I don't know how to explain it. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. We'll meet people and be like, oh, so what do you do? I'm like, I sell
hardware.
Bolts? What the hell? That sounds real stupid. But
until you're like, look at my bank account.
Nah.
So they're like, oh, wow, how do I sell bolts? Right?
All right, so explain the business.
Manifestor, I like that. Right?
Bolts. That's what happened, right?
Kind of. It just, I don't know.
Nick Diamond. Frank Downstar.
Sometimes it feels like it's not even my life, bro. That I'm just like, it's just happening. It's just naturally happening, dude. Selling bolts, dude. I was building a car, right? So I was really into Hondas at the time. I bought a right-hand drive from Japan, and
what year was this?
This was in 2009. So I bought the car. Story goes way back, but this is kind of where the bolt section came into it. Bought the car in 2009 and put in my garage. I bought the car for $3,000, clean shell.
What kind of Honda was it?
EG6 SIRS. So it's a rare version. Only people that I know that had it is me and Mickey from Throttle. We're the only ones that had the SIRS. So I got the chassis and I already started wiring tucking and everything, and I didn't even have an engine for it. Building the car in a shared garage at my apartment, literally put up like a plastic tarp, and putting the car together. At the time, this is when forums were around. So I'm on the forum. It was the NWP for life. Every day posting up like, oh, I did this today. I cleaned the wires on this side, did this, did that. So when I'm putting it together, then I was looking for new bolts to make it look clean. So there were some guys that had new bolts back in the day, but there wasn't anybody that sold them where you could just go to and buy like new hardware. Mm-hmm. So I would go on the forum, hey, does anybody know where to get some nice hardware? And the guys who had it, they gatekeep. They don't want to say where they got it from.
Yeah.
So I took one of the bolts, went to a hardware store, and I was like, hey, do you have anything that looks better than this? So they came back with something, and it was like, it's called a finish washer. So basically what it is, it's like a dome stainless steel washer and a bolt that fits it. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that looks cool, man. So I got it. I don't know how much it was at the time, but I put it on my build thread, and then somebody was asking me, hey, where'd you get those? But like, I've been a hustler since day one.
Were you gatekeeping also?
No, I was slanging, bro. I said, I got them right here, $1 each. And he's like, cool, I'll take 20 of them. So he sent me the money.
How much did each one cost you?
At the time, 25 cents. maybe.
So you're making 75 cents on
Yeah.
each.
So the guy placed the order with me. I went back to the hardware store. I bought $20 worth. So now I had like a surplus of them. Sent them to the guy in like crazy little manila envelope. The little tiny joints, dude. Wrote the address by hand, shipped it out to him, and the guy got it and put on his bill thread, and then it just snowballed from there. And that was in probably April of 2009.
You say it snowballed. Like, how quick did business start picking up once
So
he posted it on the other forum?
so from April, by it's kind of hard to see the timeline because it's just happening. I'm not thinking of I'm gonna start a business. It's just like I said, I was a hustler, so I was always selling things. So it was just something else I was selling. By IBOC meet, so that was maybe May. I had the car finished. So I got the car in January. By May, I had it at the IBOC meet. And if anybody listening, they've been to the original IBOC meet, they had me parked all the way in the back by the loading docks, like dead ass in the back, dude. I had my hood popped, and I remember that morning. I was like, dude, I'm gonna take some hardware with me. Maybe I could sell some. I got a cereal box, took the cereal out, cut the box, flipped it inside out, and I wrote on it, Downstar Inc. $1. And I put a hole and put the hardware right there. And I put it on top of my valve cover. And I probably sold some that day, like $50 or something, you know? And by November, I had a website. And then 2010 came. And I had a booth at that same meet. So maybe the next May, 2010, I had a booth. And then that summer, I ended up going to Import Alliance. And that's where I met Fran. And we were at the same summer Import Alliance. And I had heard of Eat Sleep Race already. We're setting up and stuff. And we're pretty close in proximity, the booth. And I had just like a blue canopy, whatever. First show I ever been to. The first place I ever flew to, like besides or just for myself, for like this business that I was creating. Went out there, stopped. Hey, what's up, bro? Nice to meet you. Started a relationship from there, and like literally, that's why I'm here now.
That was with my brother?
Yeah,
Oh, dang.
that's crazy, right?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a wild story.
yeah, bro. That's. I mean, I went up to him, and said what's up, and we chopped up, and you guys know,
Oh,
he's a
wow.
great dude.
For those who are watching, Francis is my brother and also my partner, one of my partners in Eat Sleep Race. So that's kind of so right. I guess I wasn't there that year because I don't remember this. So back then, were the bolts universal? Like you only had one bolt, one washer, and it's like whatever you could fit this in, or you already had all the different sizes?
No, because I was just in Hondas, so it was like these are gonna be for your standard 10 millimeter bolt. They'll go on the fenders or whatever.
I was gonna ask what were they going on, like
Yeah.
body panels and stuff like that?
Yeah, so at this time in forums, it was like the birth of customizing your engine bay, tucking your battery, tucking your wiring harness, or
Just
to
trying to
get
make it like
hardware.
look clean.
Yeah, everybody was just it was literally birthing at that time. So people knew where this hardware would go because they're always looking for a standard 10 millimeter bolt.
Right.
So then I had this stuff, and I remember my mom, she got me from like Dollar Tree or whatever, the little baskets. I had on my TV stand. I remember having the three baskets. So it was the bolts. I had a rubber washer, and then I had the actual like finish washer. So the rubber washer, the finish washer, so it didn't dig into your paint. So all three of those pieces were $1, and that was called the V1 hardware at that time.
So what was the evolution into, I guess, the colored hardware?
Started out with that product, very simple, universal product, right? And then I started to do my build. So I put my B series in the car, and the same thing. Okay, well, I want to switch up the hardware. So I ended up getting all the specs for the B series hardware. So, okay, the cam gears use this size, the water neck use this size, the ground use this size. Just wrote them down, took them to the hardware store, switched them out, put them on my motor, and then put it on the build thread. And then people were asking me, hey, are you going to start selling the engine kits? I'm like, yeah, okay. So then started doing that, and then started doing like polishing them. So you can either buy the regular kit or you could buy the polished one. So literally, I'll get the order. I'm like, hell yeah, extra $50. But then I got to go in the garage and like polish it out on a Harbor Freight polisher. If anybody's ever used one, you put a little pressure on that, it slows down. Like now we have like a real good polisher where you give it enough, it's gonna keep going. But back then it was like it was a task.
Start giving out on you.
Yeah, but I'm $50 at the time. I'm making probably like $16 an hour at Best Buy. I'm like doing this. I'm getting paid for 3+ hours just to do this. It'll take me like an hour, but do that, and then I started to move on to like now I'm getting all these other different size bolts. And now when I'm at the hardware store, like, hey, do you guys have this size? And like, oh, hold on, let me see. And then they're calling their supplier, hey, do you know when those are coming in? Okay, fine. And then listening, like, oh, let me call Eat Sleep Race. Hey, Eat Sleep Race, do you know when those are coming in? All right, bye. Oh, they'll be in tomorrow. Okay, cool. Eat Sleep Race. Oh shit, they're located right here.
So you started going straight to
Hell yeah.
the
Because
distributor.
I'm buying in bulk now.
Yeah.
So they're selling. So it's like now instead of selling a few kits here, I'm going to the hardware store. And there's a gap in time. I don't know how many months it was or whatever, but there's a gap in time where it's like now I'm ordering them in the hundreds. So I called the company. I'm like, hey, I wanted to see. I've been getting the bolts from here. I want to see if I can work with you guys there. I don't know about buy-ins. I don't know about none of that stuff. So like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I get 100 of these or something like that? And then now I found the Connect. And then now they have the bolts for like any size. Then I start to do the motor mounts. And then I start to do like the strut nuts and things like that. And then the washers, I'm getting them powder coated. I found some guy locally that's doing powder coating. So I'm having him powder coat them. And then I don't know when the exact time was, but I found a machine shop. I don't know what that connection was. And I actually still use that guy to this day. So I should hit him up. He might actually know. But I was like, hey, could you make something like this? And I drew it on a paper or whatever. And he made it for me. And then that's where I started to get our own washers machine. So now so it turned into a service because you could go to any sort of hardware store and you can do what I was doing, but we're providing a service.
Yeah, you're cleaning them up, you're making them look nice.
Exactly.
You're taking it to that next step.
If you want to
like just go to the hardware store.
If you want to pull off every bolt in your motor, measure it, that's fine. But if you want to like spend $50 for the convenience or whatever the price we were charging at that time, okay. Because you go to a hardware store, they're gonna have 16 millimeter, 20 millimeter, 25.
Yeah. Whereas
that's about it.
Whereas like if they buy from you, it can be like B series engine mount bolt or something like that.
It made it easy.
Yeah.
Made it easy. So we had all the sizes because there's some bolts that are like 80 millimeters. Your regular hardware store is not gonna have that. If you go to Home Depot today and you pull out that drawer, you'll see how high it goes. It goes to like
no, you can't even go to Home Depot and pull out that drawer because they're all mixed and matched from people just like picking up. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Nope.
What's your time worth?
Yeah, you'll spend an hour looking for one bolt.
And that's what it came to. And we dealt with a lot of people saying that, like, why am I going to buy it from you? I'll just go do it. Go ahead. What's your time worth, bro? if you want to spend the time doing it, your whole day doing it, taking off each bolt and measuring it just so you can save $50, go ahead. How much do you make an hour? You make $15 an hour. You spend fucking 10 hours doing this. That's $150. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So and then I start to get parts machine and it's our own washer. So now it's like, okay, now we have an actual product that we can offer. And then we're doing them just raw aluminum and then started to expand. Like now we got washers for the nuts. Now we got washers for the bigger bolts. And then I found a Connect for the anodizing. And once I did that, that was like next step. Damn, I never seen some shit like this. And then just started to.
What do you mean by next step? Like next step in developing products, or like that was the next step that really kind of helped take the business to the next level?
Both. now we had something more to offer people.
Yeah.
Because now we're selling this product, but maybe you go to a show and, oh yeah, I have some different bolts, but they're just the aluminum ones. Now we're offering colors. And at the time, man, I can't even call it, bro, maybe like a few different colors, 3 different colors or whatever. And then just started to build from there.
How long? So you said you were working at Best Buy. How long was it from once you started that you were able to like say that job and just walk away?
2012, 2009 to 2012. So April 2009 is when I like to say that the business started. And April 2012 is when I quit. So pretty much, what, 3 years?
Quit the business? Oh no, quit
Quit
Best
Best
Buy.
Buy. Yeah,
I was like, wait a second.
No, quit Best
Okay.
Buy. But realistically, it could have been 2011. You know, I was bred to be a worker. I had to work. There was no thought in my mind that this business was going to turn into my full time, because that's just not how I was built. Nobody in my family, nobody in my circle, nobody that I knew, everybody just worked. You
No
know
one
what I
had
mean?
like the business or the entrepreneur mindset of like, oh, I'll start my own thing and work
Maybe
for
they would
myself.
sell stuff on the side or something, but it was never your full-time thing. So like in 2011, my PayPal deposits are bigger than my checks, but it just wasn't even clicking to me because I wasn't built like that. And then in 2012, I ended up meeting my wife, and head over heels, bro. I fell in love. And then we're going out having a great time, and then I gotta go to work in the morning. This shit's whack. Why am I going to work? For what? At that time I'm making $18.50 an hour, which back then that was good money.
Yeah.
I was lead installer at Best Buy. I basically ran that place, the install bay. I'm like, why? I don't like going there. It was a great job, but still I had to get up there early. I had to go work. I just met this amazing girl. I'm having a great time. Don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like debating it in my head. Talked to my parents, and good thing my parents were always supportive. They never try to steer me in any way. I was always good with money, and I was always a good kid. So I always had a good head on my shoulders. So when I told them, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna quit. All right. They see me flying so I started in 2010 flying around to these different events and stuff. And then I'm doing it 2 years in a row. And they're like, well, I guess he's doing good. He's flying around. Like, we never went on one family trip where we flew anywhere. The only place I ever flew was when my sister was in college. She went to Stanford. I flew there and stayed there for the weekend. And we watched the anger management tour. Limp Bizkit, Eminem, Exhibit, Papa Roach at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. That's the only time I flew there, and then I flew here in 2008. Me and my buddy, we just wanted to go on like a bromance and flew out to New York for a week. But that's it. I only flew 2 times in my life. So then I'm flying out to these shows, and like it's working. I meet this girl. It's like, fuck this job, you know? Why? Why am I gonna do this? At the time, having a job was like what you had to do. But the reality of it is it's just a tool. And what's the job for? Is to make the money. Well, I'm making the money somewhere else. So why do I got to do that?
Yeah.
I'm spending a few hours a day focused on my business. I'm spending 8 hours a day at my job. What if I spent 8 hours a day working on my business? And so I quit, and then just boom, skyrocketed from there.
What were some of the struggles when you first started out your business? Like some of the headaches or I don't know, horror stories or lessons that you learned just from starting out, doing it yourself.
That's why I say it feels like it's not even my life, because it's just like it's just an awesome journey. There's nothing that I look back at now that it's like that was a struggle. Everything was so natural.
I could name one because I remember seeing it at SEMA.
Go ahead.
At one point of your career, you were very aggressive against competition.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's
And
talk about that.
you know where that comes from? Move everything out of the way. Who I am as a person to the core is I'm a creator. I love to create. I love to draw. I love to build connects when I was a kid. Lincoln Logs, like create. That was me. That's what I did. So when it came to Downstar, I'm creating these things. These are my ideas. I don't look at Downstar as a business. Like, hey, it's just business. Bro, I created that in my mind. I drew it down, dude. Like, this is from my soul. I tapped into the muse. It fed me this idea. I made it come to life. And now you're just seeing it and being like, oh, well, I could do that. Yeah, you can. And now I have a different way of looking at things. But it's like back in those days, like, that was coming from my soul, bro. I was building this. I was making this happen. I was manifesting it. Dude, I was creating. I was bringing it to life. And then seeing these people who are not they're not in it like I'm in it, because you know who's in it. You know who the guys are that are building the cars. You know the guys that are like pioneering, because we were at the forefront of it.
So when you saw people making your product, copying your product, you were aggressive when you saw them in person.
The aggression of it was a mixture of being disrespected by friends, people that I thought were friends. When you get into this business, everybody's a friend, so getting into this, meeting people, going to events, spending time with them after an event, hanging out, going to dinner, like, that's a friend, right?
Yeah.
So that's a friend to me. But then, like, damn, why is my friend doing this? Why is my friend, like, that's not a friend thing that you're doing.
Yet you had people scumbagging you.
Just doing things that friends wouldn't do. But, like, I had a different idea of what a friend was.
So the moment I remember very vividly, we were at SEMA, we was talking, and then you're like, yo, you looked at somebody, you're like, yo, that's them. I guess they were selling bolts similar to yours.
Okay.
And then you dipped. I was like, and I saw you later that night. I was like, what happened? You're like, yo, they copied my stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I confronted them about it. I was like, oh, pretty aggressive about that. I was like, what ended up happening about it? He's like, we talked about it, and it's like it was business.
I wish
Like,
I
it's
knew.
nothing personal.
You don't remember?
I don't remember, because that's happened. That's happened a few.
He's like, yeah,
That's happened a few times.
you're right.
It sounds like me.
You're right.
It sounds like me, but it's like,
So I would say those are some challenging moments. Like,
B, look at it like
how
this,
do you approach, when you create? And that's also the problem with being a creator. We get offended when you create something completely original. That's the problem that everybody who is the first at creating anything has to deal with. If you're creating something brand new that's good, you have to have the backbone to know people are going to copy your idea because it's good.
But how?
It's kind of like
experience.
It's yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's kind of like that forward thinking. Now we've done it so many times over and over that to anyone watching this, like, if you're thinking about being an inventor or making something on your own, get ready for people to copy your idea.
It's easy to have that convo now.
Yeah, but in retrospect, exactly. So that's why I say it was a challenge in the past dealing with it for the first time.
Bro, you'll have 10,000 shares, 5,000 shares on this. People watching and be like, oh, whatever. Bro, this is 2009, 2010, 2011. Instagram, what's that? Facebook, are you on Facebook? No, I'm not on that. I was on Facebook when you had to have an email from a college. I was on MySpace. Like, bro, it's new territory. I'm creating this business out of nowhere. Bro, I'm from Oxnard, California, dog. Like, that shit's in me. You disrespect me, we're gonna have some communication. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, that's that guy right there. No, I'm gonna see you and I'm gonna tell you, you
Are you
disrespecting
still
me.
like that this day?
No, of course not, B. I'm almost 40 years old. You know? I've
He's
been
like, I'm
in
not trying to get into any
So
trouble
what
with
happened?
no
I thought
one.
Oxnard's in you.
I moved. I live in Camarillo now. It's in me, but it's like you gotta learn how to control it. And you gotta learn when it's worth it. You know, and you gotta see it from all points of view.
Were you
Now,
more like hot-headed
yeah,
back
for
then?
sure. I didn't know myself. You know, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to deal with situations. I'm having so many of these different situations happen on the fly. I don't know, who am I gonna ask? Who am I gonna talk to about this? You know, who's gonna spend the time to like spit game to me? Well, everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody has their own problems and nobody's worrying about me, you know?
You didn't have mentors at that time to bounce ideas off of.
Nothing. I didn't
Do you do that now?
not anybody that I know, but I do get mentored by, you know, like Andy Frisella, Joe Rogan, David Goggins, you know, so many other podcasts from different fields, so many books and things like that. Like,
So that's how you say you were able to mature as a business owner through podcasts and books of other successful business owners.
that's a huge one for sure. But it's just going through the situations, seeing how, damn, maybe I shouldn't have did that. You know, maybe if I didn't do that, I would still have a relationship with so and so. We could be building, you know?
You just kind of matured over time on your own.
Yeah, for sure. But like the way I look at it, it's hard to say, dude, because it wasn't like it was, but then it wasn't immature because like, bro, you're disrespecting. I can't let that go. You know, I can't let somebody disrespect me. But then you think about it, like, okay, this dude's from the middle of nowhere. You Google their town, you know, 10,000, 15,000 people. Well, I grew up in a city of 200,000 people. You know, like, how am I going to expect this person from across the country to have the same values as I do? You know, when you say what you're going to do, you do what you're going to say. You're a man, that's your word. You know, but then you, you, you deal with people who don't have honor, they don't have respect, or maybe they think they do, but it's different. You know, it you just have to learn on the fly, dude. That's it. You have to go through these experiences. It's a new experience. Nobody could tell me about it. Nobody could tell me because nobody's ever been in my
So
space.
why do you not why are you not as aggressive anymore? I think I know why, but I'm curious why you are not anymore. Beyond age.
I have a lot more to lose now. I have I have a lot of people that are looking at me as an example. Closest to me is my family, my kids, my wife. Like, I'm I'm the highest priority in their life. Like, they all depend on me, you know? And it's like I can't show them the wrong way. I can't show them that when somebody disrespects you, like, you got to flip out. Cuz you know what it is, bro? It's like, how am I going to let this rando dude have the control of me and my attitude? I'm walking at SEMA having a great time chilling with my boy, and this rando dude's there, and that flips the script. Oh, we're not gonna walk to the Honda booth now and go check out this new car that came out. I'm gonna go press this random for what? You just ruined my whole vibe. So that dude had control over me. Somebody would say something to me. They had control over me. No matter what I was gonna do, I'm having a great day. I'm on vacation. I'm across the country, wherever I'm at. This rando dude, because they look at me because they said something online. Now I gotta go press them and ruin my time that I'm having. Hell no, bro. That's not even worth it. For what? So I can get this guy who doesn't even like me to not even like me anymore? What does that make any sense?
He really doesn't like you.
He already doesn't. And what does it matter that he doesn't like me? They don't like me. What does it matter that they copied me? Bro, like, you look at whoever copied me, I look at their page, they got a kid, they got a wife. They're the center of the universe for them. Why am I going to disrespect their dad, their husband? For what? They don't look at business like I do. They look at business as business. Because they don't create. They're not creators. It's all good. So if something I could create can motivate somebody to build their own business, or I'm not saying that I'm the sole person, but to like give them some sort of inspiration, to give them some sort of income so they could feed their family, like, bro, that's a beautiful thing. You know, it's like what I've built is inspiring others. At the end of the day, they're not taking money away from me. Like, it's just dumb, you know?
This is a different Frank speaking, because Frank from 2009 would have flipped the table over and
What year is it, B? You want me to be that same
Right.
guy still? You know, it's like,
just kicks the
how
table.
would that make sense? How would that make sense if I was the same guy from 2009? How would it make sense if
15
I'm the
years
same
ago.
guy from 2019?
Yeah.
How would that make sense? 5 years, I'm the same dude. After going through COVID, having kids and everything, I'm the same guy? Come on, bro. That don't make no sense. Why am I going to do
That's
that?
the majority of people, though, Frank.
I'm not the majority of people.
Unfortunately.
You know?
So the way that you describe that, like, that's not right. You know, the majority of people, like, what's this guy talking about? That's me.
Hopefully somebody catches on to something I say and it plants a seed. But like, whatever anybody watching right now, whatever Frank that they knew, whatever like impression I left on them, it probably was true. That's probably who I was at that time. I probably did make them feel that way. So how am I going to be mad at somebody who I made them feel a certain way and they have that feeling towards me to this day? You know, but like 6 months ago, I'm a different person. Every day, I'm evolving. You know, like back in the day, you used to have a subwoofer in your car. You had the EQ, right? Every
Cranked all the way up.
changing it. If you're the guy who just puts the gain all the way up, bass all the way up, and you just live life like that, that's cool, bro. If I listen to different kind of music all the time, my tastes change. You know, I'll listen to trap music. I'll listen to Limp Bizkit. I'll listen to whatever emo rock. I'll listen to country. You can't have the same EQ settings. Always changing, dude. Like however critical somebody is of me, that's cool, bro. Because I'm even more critical of myself. There's nothing you could tell me about myself that I don't think about myself, but that I'm not working on. Every day I'm EQing, bro. You think you knew me, huh, B?
Did he answer
you
your
know me, huh?
Did he answer your question, Nick?
I forgot my question. I'm just so moved right now. I'm just like, shit, I changed.
So Nick's
Like, have I changed? Like
Nick's original question was, what are some of the struggles that you dealt with? And I like how you actually corrected yourself here, because originally you're like, I don't know, man, I can't remember any struggles. But I think the past 15 minutes were the struggle that you were unable or didn't define was evolution of Frank.
The struggle's life is never gonna end. I listen to this convo in 10 years from now, and I could think of like, oh yeah, your mindset at this time
Yeah.
needed some EQing then.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a one thing that I pointed out. This business helped me understand that I needed to evolve. What if I never started a business? Where would I be at? What would my
might be the
mentality
regional
be?
manager of Best Buy.
For what? You know? Like
You might be that person that we just mentioned. Like, wait, that is me. Like, 5 years later, I'm still the same.
15
same
years
thing.
later.
15 years, same thing.
Right.
There's most of the people I know
You
in my
might be
life.
the dude in high school that was trying to be a rapper in high school, but they're 55 years old now, still trying to be the rapper.
Yeah. 55. I'll be dope, dude. Be rapping at 50. I would love to be rapping at. I love to be rapping right now.
Still trying to be the rapper that they were trying to be in high school.
or not try nothing.
Yeah.
How many people you know aren't trying nothing? They're just living.
Do you define that as your purpose in life now, to inspire people to do more than just live?
My purpose is just that's hard, bro. I don't know. It's just to be the best that I can be, and just to create. You know, I created life, bro. Like people think about having children as like, oh, I hope I don't have a kid. Bro, how do you have a kid, bro? Like, how does that happen? How does the sperm get in the egg and turns into a little baby? And it's like you don't even think about it. Like, how does that happen? Then it's in the stomach, then it comes out, and now it's like running around, and now it's driving, and now you just start a senior year. How does that happen? You're creating life. That's like the greatest thing that you could create. But it's like, damn, I got to babysit. Fool, you only got to babysit. That's your kid,
You
dog.
get to babysit.
You get
Like,
to babysit. This kid's looking at you like, damn, this is my world, bro. This dude, this is like my hero. You know? How are you going to just downplay that, dude? How are you going to be like chilling with the homies? How are you going to be like, fuck, I got to go do this? You know? Do I look at it right? I don't know. It's right for me. I can't judge anybody, dude. I don't know how people were brought up. I don't know. Maybe where people are at right now for them is 100 times better than where they came from. Who am I to judge? You know, it's just like I don't look at like I don't look at me in a certain level where I'm like better than anybody. I don't look at anybody like oh I want to be like this person. I just like I want to be the best version of myself that I can be. You know, and I want to create shit. I want to create new products. Why do I want to create new products? Just because like it's cool to see, you know? It's cool to see on somebody's car. It's cool to see someone jazz. My cousin came out here to the show with me. He never been in any car show, anything like that. He saw a guy buy a kit. And I was like, hey, go take a walk around, bro. Just like soak it in. Check out the cars. Dang, I see that car has our stuff. That car has our stuff. Then he sees this guy installing the kit on the car at the show. The kit that he packed. The kit that we struggle with, like, damn, we got to pack some more. We need more reds. We're out of red. I got to get it express anodized. You know, you see that shit like that. That dude that was installing it, he was stoked because he was doing it at the show.
Yeah.
He could have waited till he got home or whatever. He said, nah, fuck it. I want it right
you
now.
went through like a little headache on your own to get it started. You're just,
For sure.
Damn. But you made someone really happy.
Created that happiness for somebody. Life's tough, bro. If I could give somebody happiness for just that little amount of time, you know, I don't look at it as like money. You know, I do because I have to. But do I want to stress out and miss these years of my children's life to be where I'm supposed to or where I could be in 5 years? I'll be there in 5 years. And when my daughter was born, I took like a year and a half off. And it wasn't off, I was handling business, but just off the throttle. But I got to have those times, bro. I got to see her grow up. And I got to be there all the time, you know? And I had a buddy tell me, like, yo, like, it looks like your hustle's been slowing down, you know? Like, he saw me at a show. He's like, you know, I'm glad to see this old Frank back. Like, bro, I ain't go nowhere. Just because what you quantify it as is I took the gas off, so I'm not going to these shows. You know, I'm not out here grinding. But what am I grinding for? What is the hustle for? So I could spend time with my kids and see this life. You don't understand it because you don't have kids. You don't know what it's like to like wake up and have your daughter looking at you and kicking you in the face, you know? You know what it's like, B, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe it don't matter to him. Everybody has their own life. Nobody knows about the business. I don't have financial talks with people. I don't have like, okay, if you don't see me posting all the time or whatever, that's cool. That time is going somewhere. And that time is going to me going to the park. That time is with me going on, you know, trips with my family or whatever. I don't gotta stay on the gram and be posting it for what? I go out to a steakhouse. I don't take a picture of every meal that's coming out and everything for what? Why am I gonna try to show off to these people? Dude, that's the old Frank. What am I going to try to show off to make people feel like that I'm better than them? You know, that I have to prove to somebody that I'm at this sort of status level or what? Well, my wife and my children, the way that they look at me, that's it. That's all I need, you know?
At any point, so I saw this very similar happen in skateboarding. It's funny because you come from a skateboarding background. Was Nick Diamond ever an inspiration to what you were doing? Because actually you did what you did unintentionally.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like it wasn't, hey, Nick's making bolts for skateboarding, I could do this for cars. You didn't do that.
No.
But it just so happened what you did, Nick Diamond selling hardware for skateboards, you're selling hardware for cars. It just so happened you guys are doing very similar.
Yeah, the stories are very similar,
Yeah.
and he is definitely one of my inspirations. Somebody that I just looked up to because of the story that he has. You know, he had a really rough upbringing, and then he created a unique style of hardware. And at that time, you know, it was taking a long time for production to figure out how to make this. And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll start to sell some apparel or whatever in the meantime." And then, you know, the apparel ended up taking off, and he built a crazy business, you know? And I always looked at someone like him as inspiration. I think he was like in halfway homes and stuff as a kid, just troubled youth, you know? So if this dude can make it from that, you know, I started way ahead of him in life. Like, both my parents were together. I had food. Like, I had a great place to live. Like, I started that's how I always would think about things. Like, if he could make that from that, like, why does Downstar just have to be this company that sells bolts? Like, it could be whatever I want it to be. Who do I have to ask for permission? Nobody. Like, just me. I gotta do it. You know, and you see Nicki Diamond with like collabs with rappers and shit. Why? Fucks with rap, you know?
Because he can.
Because he can, right?
It's funny you mentioned that because, like, first thing I think of when I think Diamond Supply Co. is the apparel. Like, I didn't know they made hardware until I was like, oh, like, you know, but I wouldn't associate them as like a hardware.
And Nick, you skateboard.
And I skateboard, yeah. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like Diamond Supply. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the first time I saw it was probably on like a mint green shirt or something. Like that's what I associate Diamond Supply Co. with, not
Yeah.
with skate hardware.
And hopefully one day people won't associate Downstar with just bolts, you know, because it's more than that. It's my opportunity to create whatever I want and share these creations with the world.
So you mentioned being into Hondas back in the day, and that's how you got into it. Were you racing, or you were just like into
I was in the
building your own
show
car,
side of things.
show cars?
Yeah. So
That actually brings me to a topic that I had over here. When you started in the import scene, what year was that?
2000. Well, I started my business in 2009. Hondas became relevant to me in about 2007, somewhere around
And what
there.
was the trends back then?
This was after the body kit stage, undergrowth stage. It was after that. It was probably the start of like JDM. Very clean builds. What started to attract me was an engine bay that didn't look like it ran. You know, it
Shaved, tucked.
how does this run? It doesn't even have a battery. It doesn't even have wires. What's going on here? That really intrigued me, you know, so I started to look into it more, started to go on forums more, and then that is my generation.
And this is around what year? 07?
2007, 2008, 2009. This is
So
like
Arabuni, Wings West, the chrome wheels, those were
wasn't
out the door
I
already.
wasn't a part of any of that.
Is this when like stance started to
This was
start
a
become
little
more of a thing?
after. I was already in it when the stance and that era was coming
Okay.
around. This was like the Wild West, dude. People were coming out with crazy products. Like, I remember the first tucked radiator, you know? It was Rywire came out with the first tucked radiator. I seen a CRX. What is this? Where's the radiator? I was around when the brake booster deletes were happening, like the wire tucks.
What
Like
were some of the cars when you started building your car that were your reference cars or cars that you used as inspiration?
a lot of inspiration from the NorCal guys, like ATS, DPK guys, which that's Rywire. Um, he wasn't in there, but like he was part of that NorCal because he lived up there before. Some of the SoCal guys, not really any sort of crews, but just individual guys. Like we're all pushing the barriers at this time, and every show, every event, it's like, dang, dude, they did this. Oh, they did that, and you're seeing these builds, and it's just like
What were
blowing
some
your
of the
mind.
were any of these builds memorable enough for you to mention?
Remember the guy on? He had the black DC2 with the teal, black and teal, that car. He was from NorCal. Of course, Rywire, his Integra, excuse me, his CRX, his green CRX at the time had a K swap. DPK David, his EJ1, Sheepy. So Sheepy had probably Sheepy's car that I relate to is his DC2 Integra, like that really nice bluish green color. This was like before he teamed up with Chris Miller. So it was that car that Chris Miller was racing. This was when he was still in the show stuff. Um, like Arnell, he had he was pretty much him and Phase Two Mikey. I like to say they're Phase Two. So they were both from Phase Two. That was like the creation of stance. And people will think about it like, what? That's crazy. But it's like, no, because the car scene, the Honda car scene, was SoCal. That's it. It was LA area, and then NorCal. But it was like the magazines, Honda Tuning Super Street, like that was SoCal. So it was just bubbling from there. So they came out. Arnell had the red EG, and Phase Two Mikey, hey Mikey, he had the DC2, and they came out with the BBSs with like crazy stance out. And you're like, what is this? You're at Nice 2009, and you see the cars like, I don't even know I don't know what I'm looking at, dude. This is insane. But those dudes were viral before viral was even. They were viral from magazines, dude. Like these guys were the inspiration for what Stance turned into. So you're talking about like Hella Flush and Fat Lace and things like that. No, that was inspired in my eyes. That was inspired by the Phase Two guys, and it was just crazy to see all these things happening because you're just like, damn, this is weird. That's weird. What is this engine bay? Wow. What are these AN fittings? And kids nowadays are like so spoiled. If you want to build a 9-second Honda right now, it's like, okay, do you have the money? Yeah. All right. You got to get this from here, this from here, this from here, this. You get the tuner, or you get this. You got it
It's all
done.
mapped out for you. There's
2
no like
weeks.
questioning or trying to figure it out or going on forums. It's just
2
all the
weeks.
information's out there.
Oh, if you give me all the parts and no other obligations, give me a week, dude. Give me a shell that's ready to go. Give me a week. That's it. It's easy. That didn't exist back in the day. You're at the forefront of this and just seeing so much stuff going on, and you're like, dude, this is crazy,
You
bro.
mentioned NWP. Was that your primary forum?
Yeah,
Were
that
you on
was
Honda
it.
Tech?
I was on Honda Tech just here and there a little bit, but NWP, that was SoCal Forum, and that's where all the big dogs were, and that's where it was just bubbling from right there. Like anybody else that was doing it, and I don't mean any disrespect from this, but it's just it's the reality of it. You know, they were seeing it happen in the magazines and trying to figure out how to do it. And like even if it was on Honda Tech, it was the SoCal guys that were doing it. You know, and the only way that I know this is because I ended up coming out to H Day in 2012, and the cars that were at H Day in 2012 were comparable to cars that were in 2008 in SoCal. Like that's how far back they were, because social media wasn't how it is now.
Yeah.
And there was very few people that were building and pushing it forward. And it's like I don't say that as any disrespect. It's just how it was, dude. We can go to a meet, we can go to a show here and there, and you're just building it fast. And there's very few guys. Like I remember Slick's car. You know, shout out to Slick, dude. He had a really nice build at that time for what it was. But like, how's a guy like Slick gonna be able to figure out how to do that? He doesn't have anybody to lean on. He's from out here in Jersey. Like, where's he gonna get the info from? You can't go to YouTube and be like, oh, how do I do a wire cut? What do I do this? You know? And then we're all creating at the same time. It's not even a competition, but it's like, oh, you did that, dude. That's a great idea. Let's do this and do this. And it's all like,
Y'all just kind of learning together.
who does Slick have to compare to? How many guys were doing it at that time where you can all feed from each other? You know, it's like it was hard, but now you could be anywhere.
I'm curious, your EG6 in its prime, what did it have done to it?
Lambo doors.
Did it
not
really?
that car. That's not
Oh, it's
that
a different one?
Yeah, that's a different car. So the one you're talking about is a heavy in the streets EG. So that's a left-hand
gray
drive.
one.
Yeah, that's the
So
gray
you're talking
one.
about the black one
The
with
black
the green
one. The
engine
black
light.
one with yeah. So the best time for me is probably 2016. So anybody listening to this right now, you can go to YouTube and you can learn Downstar documentary. Right Hand Drive Kev from Four Bangers did that, and he spent a week with us. And I was getting the car ready for IBOC. So he documented the whole thing, documented IBOC, and we revealed the car at IBOC. So that is the best that it's ever been. And my idea right now is to get it back to that. Just the
Oh,
color
you still have the
combination.
car?
Yeah, I still have the car.
Oh,
I was
sick.
never
And just like you
selling
want to
that.
get that car back to 2016, I think many people want right-hand drive Kev to bring back Four Bangers.
Yeah.
Been trying to get that to happen.
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know.
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know.
Kev, I don't know what you're doing.
You already know, bro. I don't know. I don't know what happened here. We
Florida.
tried helping him to bring that back to life, and
What's his motivation? What does he want out of life? Who does he want to be?
no, I think more people want that brand back than he wants to bring it back. Is what it is.
I wonder
like you want to bring the EG back for yourself.
Yeah.
More people want Four Bangers to bring it back than he wants to bring it back.
Bro, Kev was killing it, dude.
Cult following for that Four Bangers.
He was. You can't name anybody who was ahead of him
on YouTube for Honda content.
Any automotive content. Talk about a YouTuber right now that you know. When did they start? When did TJ start? TJ Hunt, one of the biggest YouTubers. When did he start? He was probably in high school when Kev was doing Four Bangers. Kev interviewed me in 2012 at my first H Day. I didn't know who he was. He came up to me, hey, what's up, man? I'm Kevin from Four Bangers. I'm like, oh, what's up, bro? And he's like, hey, can you just give me an intro? And that intro's still out there. He was doing it back then, hustling, dude. Like his grind was crazy. But I don't know. Like I don't know what he wanted out of it. I don't know why he grew out of it. I would love to have a combo with him.
We got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast.
We'll get him on, and you can be one of the co-hosts.
Bro, yeah.
We'll flip you over to this side.
I have my own podcast too. What the fuck?
Let's get into that.
Podcast collaboration.
Creator here. So one of the OGs for podcasts for motorsports. He was podcasting before he even called it a podcast because it was Huffy Talk,
Yeah,
which wasn't podcasting. It was doing lives on Instagram
Instagram.
Live.
Instagram. Huffy Talk 2016. Probably the creation of Huffy Talk about 2000, maybe
Huffy
even
Talk
2015.
led into podcasting.
Yeah. So at about 2015, 2016, I'm not sure exactly when it was. I was smoking a lot. That's when live was coming out. At this time, I'm very active in social media. I would go on live late at night when I'm smoking, and a few people would come on and we'll just be bullshitting. And I'd go on the next night. Oh shit, it's the same guys. Sometimes it would be like, group 10, 15 people, night after night after night. It turned into a thing where it was like the nightcap for all of us. We'll come on there, bullshit. They'll ask a question, I'll give my opinion on it or whatever. So I'm chilling in my garage on a chair like this, one of those like, Walmart chairs, the fold out chairs. Back I have a bike hanging, right? It's a Huffy bike from Walmart. So I'm talking to these guys, I'm like, man, we need to call this something because this is like we're all just kicking it. It's me talking, but I'm not rambling. Like they're asking things, we're talking about things or whatever. So it's a group.
Is this when were you able to like share with them, or you're just
No,
like
this was
you're
even
responding to
before.
the comments?
Yeah, they're commenting, I'm just responding. So this was even before that. So I'm just like, we should call it something, smoke talk or something, whatever. Somehow the name came up, Huffy Talk. And it was like, yo, what's up, man? It's Frank Downstar. Welcome to Huffy Talk. I'm your host, Frank Downstar, with my co-host, Huffy McHuffington. And we're just chilling, bullshitting, stone, talking about fucking Bigfoot or whatever. Anything, snacking, eating jerky, having fun, dude. And then it turned into like, man, it would be cool if there was a guest on here. And this was at social media where you could actually build your Instagram. And it was my Instagram was flowing good. There was a lot of engagement, interaction, things like that. And then, I don't know where the idea came from, but
Joe Rogan?
I wasn't even no, because I wasn't even really into podcasting at that time. It was just like, how can I have these conversations, but it just not be me, it be somebody else. So turned into like, okay, we're gonna make this a show. And Kev was one of my first guests. So basically what it was like, we're gonna have Right Hand Drive Kev on. He's gonna take over Huffy Talk. We made a whole Instagram and that started it. And then it's like at this time, he's gonna be live.
Oh, I remember that. You had to share the password to log into the Huffy Talk account so that I, as a guest, could be on the page. Because back then you couldn't split screen it.
Oh, so you're just
They were all
you're
friends.
just giving everyone access to the account.
No,
They were
he would
all-
change the password.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember when I was on, he would text me like, "Hey, Bri, you're about to be on in 10 minutes. I'm gonna text you the password. Log into the account
Let me know when you're in.
when you're in, and then you've got the platform for an hour or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then once you're off, he'll change the password for the next guest because he'll have somebody else.
interesting.
Yeah. This is like,
That's such a creative way to do it.
bro, this was unheard of. And I don't like to say things like that out of ego. It just is what it is. I'm a creator, and this was the best outlet that I had available to
Right.
me. I have the earlier guest on, and then it started to pick up traction. I'm like, damn, this is cool. And I'll reach out to somebody and I'm like, sure. Speaking of TJ, I had TJ Hunt on it. I had that dude in blue. I had Ron Bergenholtz, Steph Papadakis.
And it was the same format. They would just go live, and
That's
your
it.
followers
You're on
would
for
just
an
ask you
hour.
questions.
Everybody's gonna ask questions, and then that's it. You go on there and you bullshit.
And Frank was the moderator. So if people weren't asking questions, Frank would ask some questions. Because you ask your questions through comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
at-
they're just looking at it.
And
so
this
you
is
would have your
on-
phone like this, Nick. You'd see yourself on live, and then you'd just be scrolling, looking at questions, and then you're talking into the camera. That's how live used to be back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so at this point you had turned it into its own Instagram account. Like it
Yes.
wasn't on like your
Yes.
page.
No, it had
Okay.
its own, but I'm just promoting it, you know, and it just started to grow organically.
And then at some point, you started saving them and then reposting them on the YouTube channel, I think, right?
Yeah, I would like screen record.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, somebody would text or I don't know, some shit would
And
glitch.
it would be on the
Bruh.
screen record.
The first season of Huffy Talk, like, I can't even call it who all guests were on there. I don't even remember.
Because they used to delete right
It
after.
would delete.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even my thing. I wasn't thinking like, I'm going to make this content so I could put it on
I could
YouTube so I can
monetize
get
it.
views and I can monetize
Yeah, you were
it.
just
right.
doing it to do it.
Just creating, bro.
Just creating.
That's it. I was just creating and having fun.
So
And-
what made you decide, oh, maybe I should screen record this?
Because
Save
people
it.
were like, I missed it last
I wanna
night.
watch
Oh, okay.
I missed it last night. Where can I watch it? It didn't even click to me.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West, bro. Wild Wild West. This
Gotta
is
be
where we
there.
were. It was like nobody knew even what it was. It just was. It just was something. It was just whatever night it was. Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. I don't know. Oh shit, it's Thursday night. I wonder who's gonna be on Huffy Talk tonight. Oh shit, it's Fast Guy. Oh, that's tight. Fast Guy's got a good personality. You know, he's on there talking shit. Who's on there next? Farrell. All faded. Drinking what are those drinks, dog? Those big ass like punch drinks.
Nutcracker.
Nutcrackers. Opening the door when his homie is taking a shit. Camina high. What is that shit they used to say or something like that?
I don't even know.
Going outside in the front, seeing like the pothole, laughing because people were crashing in the wilding. These fools are wilding, bro. Like it was the wild, wild west.
I want to credit Huffy Talk and then your podcast into the growth of Downstar because you didn't have like you said, dude, I was just creating. But at the same time, you were expanding your network and your exposure of Downstar.
Bro, I look at it now.
Yeah.
200. I have like 261 up. I have like a few in the tuck. And it's like you look at the names. How? I had like professional football players. I don't even watch football at all. Professional skaters I've had on there. Like talk about the Honda scene. Like anybody that had anything to say has been on the podcast. Super rando people, business owners locally. Like I don't know. How about we sit down? And like I say that I don't mean this disrespect or anything. I've had 20 plus grown men like cry on the podcast. And it's just because we don't sit down and talk about like, oh, how much power did you make or whatever. Like that shit's tight. But what I want to know is like, what made you want to keep making more power? Like what is it that keeps pushing you? What are you leaving behind when you're spending time in the garage building this and going to the track? Do you have a family? How did they do, you know, and you're asking these questions, people don't even think about this shit.
Yeah.
Wow, I never even thought about it like
Hey,
that. But it's just
kinda
me,
get involved in like whatever it is that they're doing.
just curiosity, just being
Do
curious.
you look at it the way that I said it though, that the podcasts and the interviews helped you grow Downstar?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. There's no way to like
Was there any
quantify
point where
it.
you like connected the two? Like, damn, I got to keep doing these podcasts because it's helping my business grow. Or did
No.
you keep them always separate? Like, no, I want the podcast to grow on its own, and it's not helping Downstar.
I was doing the podcast because I liked to podcast. There was a time that I was doing 2 podcasts a week. 100% of it myself. From booking, questions, facilitating everything, recording everything, editing everything, putting it out, promoting it, everything, just to get these combos out. I had like 4 sponsors at one time. So it was generating money, but then like when it became too much to do, that I just like fell back on it. Like even to this day, I'm sure I could have sponsors, but I just don't because then I'm going to have an obligation. I never want podcasting to be an obligation. I never want it to be a business. My car hobby has turned into a business and has jaded me with the car community. I don't want to have that same feeling with podcasting because I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. Like I don't want it to turn into a business. I don't want to turn into something where I'm just like, I gotta do this shit. My podcast tomorrow, I don't know when this is dropping, but tomorrow, the 19th, I'm dropping Finding Nick's podcast. Finding Nick is like a huge YouTuber from SoCal. We did the pod maybe like 2 months ago, and I feel bad, but it's just like, bro, I don't want to go in there and edit this and do the thumbnails and shit. Like, I don't want to do that today, dude. And it's not because I'm lazy. It's that I'd rather do something else. It'll get out there when it gets out there. Whether the podcast gets 10 views, 200 views, or 2 million, that doesn't change the combo. That's just 2 million people have had the pleasure of hearing this conversation.
So my next question is twofold. At one point, you went from doing 2 podcasts a week and started slowing down. Why? Because you said you enjoyed doing it. So why'd you stop? Why'd you slow down?
It was a weird time. It was when COVID was going on. I was
Okay.
doing a lot. I did a lot.
You did a lot I did one with you.
Yeah.
On the IMAX screen.
But it's not the same.
Yeah.
I want to sit with you
So is that
face
what
to
slowed you
face.
down? You're like, I don't like not being face to face.
I can, if I look back and I could go back and
You
I
could
could
see
find the
exactly
date.
when it slowed down.
If I find the date, then I
Yeah.
could tell you it's probably about the time where me and my wife decided that we want to have a baby and then went through that whole process. And then like I wanted to experience all that, dude.
Yeah.
And like it slowed down because I wanted it. It didn't have the same value to me as it did. It wasn't because I lost sponsors. It wasn't because I couldn't get interviews. Bro, like
You just want to focus on other areas in life.
I have so
you got
much
24
time.
hours.
I have so much time in the day. Why am I going to do that for? It wasn't like the numbers were crazy. Like they were going good at a time, but like doing something else,
And then you actually mentioned it, like you do everything 100%. Why don't you have an editor or somebody who could take some of that off your plate so you could do more with your time?
Because when I was a kid, when I was drawing, I wouldn't pass the paper to somebody and say, "Hey, I finished drawing this. Can you color it in?" Like this is my creation. This is what I'm building.
So you treat it as your artwork.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's art to me. The way I have conversation, I don't write things down. Nick, if I'm gonna have you on the podcast, all right, cool. Nick's coming on Wednesday. Wednesday morning. Nick's coming at noon. All right, Nick. All right, cool. Let me go to Nick's Instagram. All right, let me see. All right, cool. He went on a date here. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, he went here. Oh, that's cool. All right, cool. That's it. Nick, what's up, bro? How you doing? Hey, is there anything that you don't want to talk about? Oh, I kind of just don't want to mention my ex or whatever. All right, that's cool, bro. Let's run it. What's up, Nick? How you doing, bro? How was your day, man? What'd you do today? Wherever I feel the combo is gonna go, whatever I
Yeah.
feel whatever comes to me to ask you, it's gonna go right there.
You want it to be more authentic, not like scripted out,
Exactly.
like,
And I say all of these things, not downplaying anybody who does it like that.
Right.
This
That's just how you want it
This
to
is what
do it.
I do. This is just how I create. This is what we'll talk about things.
So I like how you created that clear divide for you. Like how you said the cars turned into your business So it was a hobby that turned into a business. Now you see how that went. It's not the podcast is fun. It's for your hobby. You don't want to make it a business.
I can. If I wanted to, I
Right.
could. If I wanted to, I could have whatever sponsor. Anybody that I wanted to have as a sponsor, I could have them. Any guest that I wanted, I can have that guest. I have that ultimate confidence.
But so what are the downsides to turning it into a business, to turning your passion into
And you have obligations.
Oh, you just opened a can of worms there, Nick.
it?
You have
Yeah.
obligations. Your time is all you have. Where's your time going to go? My main obligation, besides family, is Downstar. I
I
have to
actually,
keep that going.
Nick, I think what you said is a lot of downfalls of a lot of entrepreneurs who turn their hobbies into business. Because for anyone who has a hobby right now and is like, man, I want to learn how to make money off of this, learn that work is work. Work is fucking hard, man. Owning a business is fucking hard. Like, even though Frank can't pinpoint, like, man, I remember this moment was hard, this moment was hard. At the end of the day, especially if you're trying to scale and grow, managing people, like, if you have a family as well, like, you got 20, everyone has 24 hours in a day. Once, if you're working and then you go do your hobby's kind of what makes you happy, yeah? Now, if you just turned your hobby into your work, I wanna say that's probably why Frank started podcasting. He's like, "Man, the cars is my work now. What do I do for fun?"
What's the name of the podcast? Downtime with Downstar. This is what I want to do on my downtime, is have these talks. Let me ask you, why would you want to turn it into a business? What is going to be your motivation to turn it into a business?
Money. At the end of the day, it's just money.
All right, let me tell you this, right? You go into the Snap-on truck. All right, I'm going to buy that tool. 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 I'm going to buy the big toolbox. I'm going to buy the one with the shower. Everything's full, dog. Let me buy another shower toolbox. Let me fill that one up. Let me buy another one. Why? When are you going to fucking build something, dog? Money's a tool, bro. For what? What are you going to keep making money for? You got to build something. You got to do something with it. That's how I see it. Well, I'm going to invest. I'm going to buy invest. Okay, cool. What are you doing with the money that you're getting from your investments? What are you doing with your free time? Like, what is it? What's your purpose? What brings you happiness? What brings you joy? You know, money, like, that used to be me. That's who I was. And that's how I got here, because I had that hunger, because I wanted to make money. I got to a point where I'm making so much money. My bank account looks crazy. I don't have any friends. The friends that I thought I had, damn, I didn't see that one coming out of left field. People switching up on you. Like, money is a tool. That's all it is. What are you gonna do with that tool, bro? That's how I see it now.
Yeah.
I was lost as a young adult. I was lost as a child, but I had to be. I had to be focused on money because I didn't have it. Most
Yeah,
people,
it's a game of survival. It's a lot different when it's a game of survival, which is a majority of people who will live paycheck to paycheck, because even though you're able to say that now, thankfully, you're able to say that now as a successful business owner, you know what it was to work for that check and like, yo, on Friday, my bank account's at $5 again. So I gotta hustle again this weekend, which is why your hustle mentality created the business, because that 9 to 5 wasn't it. Well, that wasn't enough. So you always had the extra hustle on the side to make more money. And thankfully that compounded over time to the life that you're living today, which is inspirational to most people. But for many people who are in survival mode, living paycheck to paycheck, it's that original mentality that I think Nick was trying to get to, where when you ask him what's the motive, it's money, because I got to pay rent next week. I got to eat next week. I I got to do this, do that, right?
You don't have to worry about rent. I want to have a car. I want to have a K-swapped Honda. Okay, here's two. I want to have a nice daily. Here's $150,000 daily. I want to have a nice car. Here's $1 million house. I want to have Supreme every Thursday it drops. Okay. I want to go eat whatever I can when I go to the restaurant. Okay. I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know what makes me happy because what made me happy was making money. Now I have it. What is it that brings you happiness? And that's a scary thing, bro. That's a scary thing to try to have to figure out. And it's like they say ignorance is bliss. Like if you're in that rat race and you're hustling and you're trying to make money and you're trying to figure it out, like there's so much value in that, bro. Now you're not gonna have to be like, damn, who the fuck am I? Do these people just like me for what I can do for them? Your homies are your homies because they're your homies. What if you get to a point where you're super lit and you're like, homie, my homie's acting real weird now. This is weird, dude. You know, like family. Hey, Snig, it must be nice, bro. Must be nice to have that watch, dude. What do you mean? Must be nice. You see me grinding, bro. You see me. Damn, now I can't kick it with this person no more. They make you feel that certain way. Like, who do you have around? It's a crazy place to be at, dude. And it's just levels. It gets to next levels. I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure it out to this day. Like the best thing that I have is, my home base. Because they're always my wife's been with me since the beginning. I say like 2012 I was making cool money, but it's cool money for somebody that works at Best Buy that has extra money to, buy a new pair of Jordans when they drop or whatever. Like she's been there with me. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people haven't made it to this day. And it's it's a scary thing, dude. And like I said, bro, I don't mean none of that as any sort of disrespect, but it's like it's all perspective, dude. And like where you're at, where anybody that's watching is at, you gotta appreciate those places that you're at because it's not always greener. Shit, it might be greener. Rick Ross living in a beautiful house probably spends $50,000 a week cutting the grass. That's crazy, bro. Imagine that. What if, you know, what if something happens? What if what if the tide changes? What if nobody fucks with me no more?
Can't cut
What
that
am I gonna
grass.
do? Yeah, I can't cut that grass myself. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So I found something. I found these things that I find. I cherish them, bro. Like this podcasting, I cherish it, dude.
Do you have anything aside from the podcast that you like to do, or like some of your hobbies?
I would say skating, but it's been a while since I've skated.
Yeah,
I love skateboarding, and that turned into Downstar Skate, which I created maybe about 5 years ago.
hell yeah,
Which
just
is
pound it for that.
hell yeah, bro. Because I think about it like, what would Frank, as a kid, what would he want? He would want his own skateboard. He wanted his own skate brand when he was a kid. I don't want to sell bolts. I never wanted to sell bolts. It just fell into my lap. I'm not selling bolts. I'm selling a tool for others' creations, for others to be able to make whatever they want to make.
Right.
It's like if you're drawing and you have like a 6-pack of crayons, you're only gonna have like such a good drawing. Here's the 200 pack, bro. Handle it. That's what we create. Um, damn, I ramble, bro. I'm so sorry. I'm on this.
You're
I'm on
good.
this Red Bull right here, dude. If I'm a podcaster, dude, I talk all day. But I started a skate brand. We had a podcast studio downstairs. I wanted to make one of our showroom was like 10 by 10. I knocked down the wall, made it 10 by 20. And then I have a homie who's in the skate industry. He's actually the team manager for Baker, and he hooked me up
Cool.
with an account. And now we have skate accounts. Now we have a skate shop, and I sell a skateboard probably once a month. But every day I go in the shop, I'm like, damn, this is sick.
I got a skate shop.
I got a skate shop. People come into the shop and they're like, oh, this is cool.
That's dope.
This is what I do.
I always wanted a warehouse. That's like when like Fantasy Factory and
For
the
sure.
barracks and all, and that era. I was like, damn, I could skate while it's raining outside. Like,
Bro, I want that to this day. I walk into here. I'm so proud of Brian, dude.
I think
What you
of that
created.
every time I come in here. I ride my bike in here, bro. I do BMX tricks like in the
Hell
back
yeah,
corner.
dude. I
got-
love it. Like,
got
this
some
is
slow-mo
amazing,
paint
dude. You're
videos.
inspiring me. You know?
You know what? I'm very nonchalant when you say that because when you, as a business owner and somebody similar to yourself as a creator, to do better, if you want to get, if you're a bodybuilder and you want to get bigger, you can't work out with people who are smaller than you, right? You got to work out with guys bigger than you so you could learn how are they eating, what workouts are they doing so you could get bigger, right? So me, I've been a hustler since I was in grade school. I was hustling candy in 3rd grade. I was making bracelets in 2nd grade and get in trouble from my teachers like, "Why are you selling things in class? Why am I selling markers that I found on the ground and selling them for
Hell yeah.
$2 to the kid next to me?" It was probably his marker.
Hell
Right?
yeah.
So having that mentality, like watching Rob Dyrdek, Fantasy Factory, right? I want that. Dang, I got this. It ain't Fantasy Factory. I got this. I know I could get Fantasy Factory. I know it's down the line. But I've also taught myself along the line in the past, I worked so hard for the destination, and I always found that unfulfillment because I never got to. My dreams keep getting bigger. Like, man, when am I gonna be happy? Because
Mm.
I'm keep hustling, and I feel
Every
like
time you get to the next
Yeah.
finish line, it's like,
it's not
okay,
the finish line.
okay, what's next?
Yeah, it's not the finish line, right? So I've learned from the gurus, right? Enjoy the journey, right? I soak it in. So everything that you say about being able to, when you have that freedom to, you had the freedom to enjoy little Frankie growing up, right? I had that as well. This didn't happen. This wouldn't have happened if I was working my 9 to 5 that I was working 6, 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I come in here every time. I clean this place myself. I don't have a cleaner. I spent 8 hours in the past 2 days mopping, using the machine, dusting this whole place. I'm fucking proud of this place,
Hell
right?
yeah.
I know every flaw of this building. Me and Nick painted every wall in here because I'm enjoying the journey. I know this isn't the end destination. I know this is a lease. I want to own my own building one day, right? But I'm enjoying this while I have it.
Yeah.
Just like our kids, they're only babies, they're only toddlers. You can only hold them in one hand for so long. Let me enjoy it, right? So the same way that we just spoke about before this, like, yo, bro, you're doing a lot of things now. You got your event coming up. We're doing Fast Life Fest. This video might come out after Fast Life Fest, but this all happened in time, very organically, right? I couldn't have done this 2 years ago when my son was a toddler because my son consumed my time, and I allowed that, right? So the same as you took a you took your foot off the throttle on the business so you could focus on your family. My plate was full. I don't got 2 plates. I only got 1 plate. But now that my son is, I don't got to feed him every 3 hours. I don't got to clean bottles every 2 hours because I don't have a nanny like a lot of my other wealthy friends do.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes I look like, dang, like, dang, y'all got a lot of regular time still with nannies and stuff like that. That's kind of crazy, right? But then I look at somebody like, man, This actually super clicked when, I just read this about, let me not blank out, not Travis Scott,
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking. ASAP.
ASAP and Rihanna. He goes, "I didn't work so hard to make these kids to hand them off for somebody to take care of them." Like, no. I made this kid because I wanted this kid, and now that I have this kid, I'm gonna spend every waking moment that I can taking care of this kid because I wanted you. I made you. I didn't make you to just hand you off to somebody to keep living that life I was living before. There was a moment, just like you said, when you realized your wife was the one for you. Like when I realized that I wanted to take the next step with my wife, I come to realize, like, man, I lived that party life already. I'm ready for the next step,
Yeah.
right? So it was kind of that same moment of which everything is happening organically, in which I have a different motive with the podcast than you have with it, because the podcast is your creative outlet. When you ask me, like, what do I do for fun? I like music a lot, so I go to concerts, I go to
Mm,
music festivals,
I
things
love
like
that.
that, right?
And the
But
beach.
yeah, I do like the beach. The beach. This is just something that we found out. Me and Nick come to realize lately, like, yo, Bri, you're the most creative when your feet are in the sand, bro.
Mm,
We
okay.
get into a different conversation about that with the
And yeah,
energy that
and yeah,
you
he doesn't want to
connect
go
with
to
grounding your
Florida.
body to the beach, right?
Yeah.
So that's on a big conversation that we could talk hours upon that. But on that note, right? The reason why we do this podcast is we come to realize this podcast helps the brand grow,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
So we're very different than you, where we don't treat it as artwork. This is part of our business model today, right? So to each their own. And I think the point of the conversation here is everyone needs to have everyone should have a hobby. Everyone needs to have something in life that makes them happy. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like, dude, I don't even know what I do that makes me happy.
Let me
Like, I play
tell you.
video games just to play video games. I don't even know. Do video games make you happy? I don't know, just because I stop thinking when I play video games and I just fucking I wake up and it's 9 o'clock. I gotta go back to work.
Yeah.
And I'm back on the video games, right? Like you said, like, dude, it's actually a very hard job to ask you what makes you happy or what's gonna make you happy.
If I had the ability to stay up till 4 a.m. and get up in the morning and feel good and go on, I probably would do the podcast. I see what you created and I envy it. I see the work that you're putting into it. I love it because I know that downtime could be there if I gave it that attention.
You know, I mentioned that earlier, and this is nothing to I like art, right? I follow a lot of artists on social media, and I come to find this when I see the behind the scenes. Artists, Cause, Futura, they all have artists under them that work because as the artists of the brand, because these artists have turned into brands, right? They need to continue to create. So it's kind of like the same thing as brands that treat their fashion as art, right? The lead creator creates. I conceptualize, and I have a team of artists below me as the creator, the creative director, to pass my art down to that I trust with my art,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Because I know I have so many ideas that I can't get them all out if I were to just focus 100% of my time on those ideas. And as an artist, it would pain me to bottle up all those ideas and never be able to physically express them. That's my reasoning as an artist. And I see that replicated with a lot of other artists who have teams below them dude, I got so many ideas. I can't do it all on my own. I might die before all my ideas are expressed. So in order to do that, it goes both ways. Like, man, I'm expressing my art. It's growing. More people are seeing it. It never mattered. It's just a bonus that if it makes money, it makes money. That's what t-shirts have turned in for me. Why'd I make this design? Did I make it because I needed to make? Because, oh man, well, if I make 100 of them, I'm gonna make X dollars. Nah, this was my creativity at 4 in the morning. Yo, I think this is a dope idea. I have a book that whenever I get ideas, especially on the beach, I just jot down ideas.
Mm,
And then, like, yo, I open up Photoshop or Illustrator. Like, oh shoot, I remember that idea I came up with. I just whip it up,
yeah.
print a couple dozen shirts. Not for any idea of I need to make money or we need to sell shirts or anything. Just expressing my art.
Yeah.
And then if the guys are like, yo, Bri, that design sold out. Bet. Keep rerunning it. Let's make more. But that was just an expression of my art.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So for that same idea, I hope this is some inspiration to you that clearly you got Downstar bolts, which Downstar hardware, which was never meant to be a business to begin with. Downstar skate, which is the same thing. You got downtime with Downstar. I don't even know how many other projects and businesses that you're working on, but I do know you even have other ideas in your mind that you haven't even expressed yet, but you won't be able to express them unless you release some control.
Yeah. To who?
I didn't know Nick 7 years ago, and now Nick is my partner in our media. How do you find talent or people to work with?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ask and you'll receive. You'll never be able to find help or talent if you don't put it out there that you're looking. And where's the best place to look? Your personal network, your social media. Because the people that follow you, a high percentage of them
Gotcha.
would like to work with you. They
Okay.
follow you because they like you. A percentage of them follow you because they're haters.
It's all good. I need them.
But the whole reason of the social network is it's the network, right? It's networking. Why do you go to career events? Why do you go to professional networking events? It's to network with other people within your industry.
Yeah.
Your social network are necessarily people that like you as a person, and it's much easier to work with people that you know. So the same way that I found Nick at a time when I was looking for somebody to do videos for us, I put up a post on my stories that said, "Does anybody do video? I'm looking to make a video for a product." Nick was one of the handful of people that responded, and I vetted everybody out, and I ended up working with Nick. And here we are 4 years later, and he turned into a partner of the brand.
If it was my way, I would be podcasting twice a week, and I would be posting a new 2 reels every day. Sometimes maybe I'll say things because I have to convince myself that this is just what it is because I don't have the ability to make it happen. So
I was gonna ask, like, what's holding you back from doing that? Is it just like your day to day, all the other things you got going on? You think you'll burn yourself out if you try to
I
keep
don't
up with
know.
that?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can do back to back podcasts. One of somebody that is like I hate to say I love them would be Adam 22. Goes in and has 5, 6 podcasts a day. What he talks about, how he interviews, all of that, I don't care. It's not. It's dumb. It's you're asking people things because you want to have reels. I don't care about none of that. But like having a facility, having the ability to do 5 podcasts a day, like that's what I want to do. I can do that. I won't get burned out. I just need help, dude. I need a team or whoever. I need to pop out the memory cards. Here, handle it. But it's like it's so hard to find people like that. This is so hard to
Have you
find.
ever done it? Have you ever put up a post on your story that says does anybody like podcasting or does anybody like shooting video or audio? Shoot me a DM. You'd be
Yeah, no.
surprised by the responses
Yeah,
you get.
no. Maybe this. Hit me up. Let's fucking create.
This is
That's
the
what it is.
official post. We'll turn this into a reel for you.
That's it. This is let's create. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Some of the best people and the reason why this brand continues to grow is because years ago I realized any growth stops with me.
yeah, for sure.
I'm the reason the brand doesn't grow because, and I'm not to say I'm not perfect. This brand could and should be way bigger than what it is today, but at least I'm happy knowing I opened my mind years ago to allowing welcoming that idea of you could only do so much by yourself. And it's it's selfish to the brand, it's selfish to my partners to think I can do everything on my own. Because as much as I want to, I'm restricting the brand from growing by just doing everything on my own. My part, even though I told you, like, I enjoy cleaning this place, my partners hate it because they're like, Bri, you just wasted 8 hours cleaning the place when we could have played a cleaning lady and you should have been on the computer creating. That's what I did.
At the beach creating.
It's what I did because it was what I wanted to do. Sure, I could have paid somebody to clean the place. I wanted to do it though. Right? So it's the same battle that we have as partners, and it's the beauty of partners, right? And I don't you don't have partners in your brand, right? I found that very challenging in my first couple years because I don't know if you deal with this. I had a lot of this or that. It's like, what do I ask? Because everyone I could ask really doesn't care as much as I care because they have no part. They're not part of the brand, right? So your opinion is less valuable than mine versus a partner who has stake in this and wants the brand to grow. Because if the brand grows, they grow. So now I value your opinion way more than Joe Schmo off the street or the poll on stories because it's like your opinion on what you watch TV versus one of these guys that I bounce ideas off of that holds way more value to me. So that's where I found the value in I have so many different ideas. I'll never be able to express them all. Let me be very open-minded to allowing people to work with me and taking risk. Obviously, when you work with people and you start paying people, is this an expense or is this an investment? Right? It's got to start off as an expense.
Yeah.
It's like any investment. You throw money into the stock market, you're investing. You're not investing if you're losing money, right? It's an expense. Yeah. It's an investment when it starts making money. I invested into Nick, right? When we started working, we're paying him to make content, and now we invested time and money into Nick that he grew into a partner, right? Look at the people in front of us. These guys weren't here 3, 4 years ago.
Dude, the podcast last year, I was running it. And now we're to a point where I'm confident that if I wasn't here.
And here's another great idea of networking, right? We do cars and coffee. Hundreds of like-minded people come to our warehouse. And I'm assuming if you come here, you fuck with us. If you're here hanging out in our headquarters, you brought your car, you took time out of your day to come here, I assume you fuck with the brand.
Yeah.
So if you're here fucking with the brand, that means there's hundreds of people here. I'm gonna say what's up to everybody. Because I appreciate you coming, right? Appreciate you supporting our brand. How'd I meet Rob? Rob came here with his gimbal. Like, yo, a couple people pointed him out. Like, yo, that dude's got a crazy setup. Like, word, I gotta go talk to him. Let me take time on my man took his time to bring his investment over here, shook hands with him, like, "Yo, this looks very expensive. My guy Nick loves this stuff. I need you to talk."
And meanwhile, countless conversations Brian and I have had of like, how do we find a car videographer? One pulled up, like, you know.
Yo, I'm a very firm believer in this, and I think you are. You do good things, and good things start happening to you, right? I'm a firm believer of positive energy, right? I look what I'm wearing right here. Fast cars and good vibes. I've I was I was negative in high school. I used to not smile. I used to be that kid that people just knew like he's a dick. And I used to embrace that like I am a dick, right?
Yeah.
That didn't get me very far. I didn't have the network of friends that I have now, right? And at some point in college, when I've come to realize, like, yo, and I kind of take that from my background and my love for hip hop, right? Aggressive ass, Mob Deep, right? Like the music that I listened to, I wanted to live that demeanor, right? Like, nah, listen to fucking Wu Tang, Biggie. Like, this is like, I want that swag. And that swag is not smiling and joking around with people, right? Like, nah, I'm hard as fuck, right? Like, but come to learn, if you're like this, everyone around you is like that as well. So I come to realize that in college, like, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. I gotta loosen up a little bit. So I started changing as a person, and I also realized people around me started noticing that. I had a girl from high school, and this is like 8 years later, who was like, "Yo, Bri, I didn't like you in high school because everyone knew you were a dick, but you're actually pretty cool. Like, I never even spoke to you before. Like, I, I hang out with you now. Like, word." That was like a trigger in my head. Like, yo, I was right thinking that way. Like, that old way I wasn't gonna get me much further.
Yeah.
So now, optimistic Bri, positive energy, fast cars, good vibes. A lot of people could connect to that, right? Like, I walked up to Rob, yo, thanks for coming out. Tell me about your setup over here. I got a guy who really likes this stuff. I need you guys to talk. They talked. Nick, what was that? Nick vetted him out, right? Nick's my media guy. Seems pretty cool. Like, we're gonna check out his content. Think you go work with him? I invited him to a podcast. Rob showed up to a podcast. He's been coming back ever since, right?
That was
So
like three
it's those
podcasts
same
ago.
things. Like you put yourself in these situations where there's a lot of people who used to do car meets at your shop, right? Like you have a great social media. Anytime you post anything on Facebook, and you still do this to this day, like you'll post up a question, you get mad people responding as comments, right?
Yeah, because I'll say some shit that nobody wants to say, and it creates conversation, but it's just like a thought in my head.
And then you must value some of those people's comments, no?
I look at them and it makes me. I value their perspective, and I try to see where their perspective is coming from.
That's a good way to vet people out because I've learned this in the past. I used to work corporate for years and I fucking hated it. I get anxiety thinking about it.
Don't open that can of worms.
I can't work with people that I don't fuck with,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And in
sure.
corporate, you're forced to do that. Like in corporate, I used to have to work with people I would probably wanted to fight in high school, or I'd never even want to sit at the same lunch table as you because we're two different people, right?
Yeah.
In this business that I own, I want to work with people that I can relate to, I could associate with, that I could call friends, right? It's the same way like in when you're vetting people out, just like you said, like some people like I don't like how they comment. You don't gotta work with them. But there are people on your social media that you could probably see yourself working with just even as a person. So like this is a lot in business, right? I'd rather hire somebody because they're a good person that I could teach and grow into a good worker versus somebody that has a piss poor morals to me that I'd probably have anxiety having to interact with them every day, but they may do the best job ever. It's gonna bring my life down, right? I'm not gonna enjoy coming to work if I don't like the person who's sitting at that desk. Yo, he gets the job done though. But it's my business. Like,
No.
I don't wanna come in here
I couldn't
feeling
do that either.
not feeling comfortable, right? So, for that same reason, I think it's worth a shot whenever you do need certain things, put it into your personal social network first, and then I see this all the time, man. I could put a something happens in my house, I need a plumber. Where am I going first? I usually go to my social media. Yo, can
Facts.
anyone
That's Bry's answer to anything.
Facts,
I
you're right.
put a story up.
It works.
Hour later,
got it?
I got a plumber.
Yeah.
You said first thing you said is manifest it, right? Want to go in the studio, spend 3 hours, 4 hours of my day talking to this person, show them at the shop, maybe go to lunch. That's it. Get the memory cards, give them to somebody,
It's possible.
have them create, and that's it.
Yeah, I could give you a great example, right? Just heard this story from Alex Teeter. Remember Steven Scherer? You heard of Steven Scherer? He's like one of those child YouTubers, successful like
No.
kid YouTubers. Yo, they have a mansion, a content mansion out in Pennsylvania. The kid, I think, he's in his teens, and his manager is in their early 20s. So Alex went to go do an episode with them. He's like, "Yo, they have a team of videographers who recorded everything on iPhones. No professional equipment. All the episodes are shot on iPhones." And then once the episode was done, like Alex was like, I was chatting it up with Steven, like all the video guys disappeared. He's like, "Oh, so like who edits the video?" They're like, "Some dude in Russia."
Yeah.
He's like, "We literally film, they go upload to the cloud, and then they're on to the next episode." Like, what? That's how these dudes keep pumping out content. Because as a creator, what's the biggest burden on your creativity?
Editing.
Editing.
100%.
And I tell him
I
now
mean,
the same way.
I think about it all the time, and you know, I'm lucky to have these guys who've been helping me, you know, do some editing. I have a guy in the Philippines that helps me do weddings. Like, I had a video.
He might be my cousin.
He might be.
Might be related to him.
Probably. Hanging all these Filipinos in my life, helping improve my life. But yeah, no, he's helped edit multiple wedding videos now. Whereas, like, you know, a project from a couple weeks ago, dude, it took me a week just to put the footage from my memory card onto the computer. It took me a week to get the time and the focus to do that.
I know I'm not the first one to tell you this.
You know?
Work harder, work smarter.
For sure. But you're the first to put these dots together. No one cares, bro.
See, that's the reason why I asked you earlier, right? Like, I've been blessed, and I'm very grateful to have a lot of people that when I run into issues or I have business issues, life issues, I have people I call, whether I consider them mentors or just friends, because
Gotcha.
that's my thing. I don't know what the boundaries are of mentors and friends, because like when certain things happen, like, yo, I gotta call what's his name to bounce this idea off of. Like, yo, I'm running into this. What do you think? I constantly need other people's perspectives, right? Like for the owners of the business, we have a group chat, and I'm constantly in there. Like, I just came up
Every
with this
day.
idea. What do you think? Just came up with this new design, yellow or green. Because in my head, I'm like, I like fucking both of them, and if this was my only business, I wouldn't know what to do, yellow or green. But within my 4 partners, like, one's about to win, right? Everyone chose yellow. Fuck, I like green, but they chose yellow. Yellow is it, you know?
I think that's an important thing to highlight, right? Because you probably would spend 5 or 6 hours
Yeah.
just trying to
Yeah.
decide
Wasting
versus
time.
now you send it out in the group chat. In 5 minutes, we'll all respond, and a vote will be made, and be like, okay, cool, this is the one that we're
Yeah, I
going
probably asked too many questions,
with.
right?
Well, another part of it too, like you mentioned earlier, is you really enjoy just talking to people. If you don't have to worry about doing the edits, all you're doing is talking to people.
Yeah, you're doing what you love.
You're doing the part that you love,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can also delegate and find somebody that does what you want the way that you want it to be done. Like, I know how Brian wants his videos edited, so we don't really go through that revision process like when we first started. So I was like, okay, I know this is how he's gonna like it, whatever. And I was able to take that and teach Harry, who's now currently sitting behind and helping produce this podcast. So, the style and the originality of what the idea was is still there. You don't know whose hands it's in because
Yeah.
it still has
For
that
sure.
consistency,
And it's not like I have any sort of crazy editing style or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then that's where it comes into, like, when I say work is work, like, I enjoy doing this, but at the same time, working with people and growing the brand and working with different personalities, I have my own personality, and I do not expect everyone around me to be like me. So that's my personal challenge as a business owner. Like, I set my expectations so high of myself that I used to have that same expectations for everyone I worked with. So I'd constantly get frustrating myself when people don't live up to my expectations, but that's my own fault because I'm the biggest shareholder of this company, right? This means the most to me, that to think that other people would hold it at the same regard is selfish of me,
Mm.
right? It's like, why would it, as an owner, you can't expect your employee to want to do as good as you when it's yours, right? It's the same, like, you can relate as a father, right? You're gonna raise your kid better than anybody else can because it's your baby,
Yeah.
right? Sure, you could pass it off to the nanny, and the nanny's gonna raise the kid, make sure it's alive, but it's not really her responsibility to
For sure.
make it the best human being that it can be, right?
Yeah.
My business is my baby, right?
Yeah. For
It's
sure.
hard to let go, but also at that same time, I send my kid to daycare because I come to realize if I watch my kid 24/7, how about this baby, my business, right? Like, how about my relationship with my wife? How about my relationship with my friends? If I was raising my kid 24/7, just me and my kid, like, I'm giving up on other things, right? We only got one full plate. We only got 24 hours. So you gotta learn to let go on other things. So just like I'm not the best teacher to my son to teach him the things they teach him in school, I'll let the professionals handle that. I'm not the best editor, so rather than me learn how to use Final Cut better than I could do it, let the professional do it. I got the vision, just like I got the vision of wanting the best for my kids' education. All right, let me find a good teacher.
Yeah.
Let me find a good school. Y'all do it now. Let me find a good editor, good media guy. You do it now, right?
To emphasize his point on not being the best, he always says Final Cut. We've never used Final Cut.
Because I use Final Cut.
You're
These guys use Premiere.
You're lucky you didn't say iMovie.
Oh man, I used to use iMovie
He
too.
always says like, you're like, oh, did you do that? No.
I still use Final Cut. I feel you.
Watch Downstar.
Watch a month after this podcast
Yeah, a month after
is
this,
out.
Frank's
It's just gonna be,
like, yo, I had to move into a 5,000 square foot spot because I hired 30 people, bro.
we gotta. Not only do we have a skate shop, we have a skate plaza.
Factory.
We got a skate plaza in here.
We're manufacturing wheels now. We're manufacturing decks.
It's just scaling. That's
It's scaling. It's
that's
scaling.
still something that I'm trying
Yeah, and
to work on.
I'm 100%. I know I got to do this, but I'm learning the same way. You know, it's growth, man. It's learn. You can't go to school for this shit.
Podcast skill. You get better the more you do it. Probably done 275 plus podcasts, some that never even went out. When I see podcasts up, I'll smoke them, bro. That's it. I'll wash them. Like any podcast that is in our field, I see it and I'm just like kicking myself in the ass. Like, damn, bro. Like, you'll wash that. They're not talking about nothing, bro. They're not talking about anything with any sort of depth, but they're doing it. I'm not doing it. And that's me not feeding into my gift. If I have that many, I just want to keep doing more and more and more. And you're right. I should be. And I should have somebody else to be able to help me with that. I haven't even reached out. I don't know. There could be somebody out there right now that's watching this, like, damn, he's tripping over that. I could do that. No problem. Hit me up. Because it's like, I know when I'm good at something, and I know I'm good at podcasts. Connect with no matter who it is, bro. You can sit me down with anybody. I could talk 2 hours straight, no problem at all. And it's going to be an amazing conversation. It could be about whatever, but it's just like I haven't fed that machine to its full potential. And like maybe I'll just make excuses in my head why I haven't done
Yeah,
it
you're just making excuses, honestly.
for
I used
sure.
to do that all the time too. I used to my partners, my mentors, like, "Why haven't you done this yet?" And I'd catch myself like, "I'm just making up excuses."
For sure. And I could definitely be honest with myself. Like I said, I'm the most critical of myself.
You know what's you know what's holding me back?
Hmm.
You.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause that's when I would catch myself, like, 1, I'm making excuses, and then I'm like, "Why am I making excuses?" 'Cause I would reason it by saying, "Oh, but this is just me. Why? Why are you
For
like
sure.
that?" Like, I'm holding us back again."
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I still got things to work on,
Yeah.
and I see it. And then when I make time for it, when I make it something that I have to do, it's going to happen. It's going to be great. It's going to be, if I wanted to, it would be the best podcast out there. 100% confident in that. That's not ego or anything like that. It's just I know I put in the work and it would be there, but I need to put in the work to get it to that point. I love podcasting. I love having conversations, and probably saying that I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it a business because it's my hobby. That's probably an excuse
That's an excuse. That's the way I took it when you said it.
for sure.
I let you say it first before I repeated it.
It's all good,
But that's the truth,
for sure. And I sometimes I have to say these things.
because what you just said, you find your passion is in talking to people. Making money and making it a business doesn't take away the passion from it.
Yeah,
If anything, money amplifies things, right? So a lot of people have this saying, "Man, if I win the lottery, I'll be this or I'll do that." If you're bad with money and you win the lottery, you're not gonna turn into a person who's good with money. You're just gonna be a person who's bad with money with a whole lot more money. If you're a giving person and you donate your time and your money, if you win the lottery, you just have a whole lot more money to donate. You have a lot more time to donate, right? So I think when people come to realization of that and they understand that as the truth, that money amplifies you, it could change your perspective of life, because a lot of people who are in bad positions, who don't give back, who don't donate, who who don't do good things, oh, but when I make money, I'm gonna do it. You're not. You're not. Because if you can't do it today as a person without money, you're not doing it when you have a whole lot more money. Because when you have a whole lot more money, when you have a couple $1,000,000 in the bank, I don't want to give that to anybody. That's all mine. It was all yours. Your $50 was all yours when you had no money. So your 50,000,000 is still all yours.
Yeah.
And I've met many people like that through my life, and I'm gonna say I used to be like that as well. I used to I don't know if it's greed or selfishness, but I used to be like that. But I've come to realize that karma and given law of attraction, it's brought me a lot of positivity in my life that I've changed. But take it at that. If you can't do what you're doing, what you want to do today, you can't do it tomorrow because of money. Money's not gonna change it.
I think a good way to look at it too is like, kind of like what I mentioned earlier. So if you turn, and this is something I've dealt with too. Like, I love taking videos. I love taking photos. The business side and like the mundane stuff, having to do long edits, staying up late, has made me not want to do it. And it's happened. It turned hobby to business to there's days I don't want to do it. But in finding people to help with it and take the load off, I find myself doing the fun parts of it. And I have the crew, the team to help take the load off on the things, not everything, but some of the things that I don't want to do anymore. And it kind of like it brings the fun back into it. It keeps the joy into it.
Yeah.
You know?
And then
It's
what you
like,
may not think is fun for you doesn't mean other people don't think it's fun.
yeah.
That might be fun for them.
And that changes over time too. Like I used to love editing. I would not want to shoot. I would not want to be on camera. Now it's completely flipped. Like
Mm,
today we did the cars and coffee. I was just going around talking to people about cars and stuff. I was having so much fun.
I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm a bitch.
I wouldn't say that.
I would.
It's growth.
Just gotta say it out loud sometimes.
Want me to punch you in
No.
your chest?
Nah. But yeah, I would love to do it. I just gotta do it. That's it. Hopefully somebody will reach
You're
out.
only doing yourself justice, right? Because like you just said, yo, I love talking to people, but I haven't done it in a while, and I haven't posted it because I didn't want to do that side of it. So don't do that side of it.
Yeah.
And I constantly have to beat Nick over the head over these things. Like, yo, why haven't we found another person for this or this or that?
I'm
And he
I'm
comes up
I'm
with
also
excuses.
I'm also very anal with certain ways that things look, and like we even had a conversation recently about something we were working on. I'm like, I don't really like how that looks. I'm like, I don't know how, in what way, shape, or form. I was like, I want to take this into my own hands. I know I probably shouldn't, but even if it's to the point where like, okay, this is the method, this is how we're gonna do it, so then now we can bring
Yeah, but
somebody
we're
in to do it
learning,
that
right?
way. You
We're
know?
learning for that same reason that you said, "Oh, I don't like the way that person's doing that."
Yeah.
Well, at least
It's
we
the trial
started
and error
somewhere, right?
process.
Because
Yeah.
we didn't have that. Without that person doing it, we didn't have it to begin with,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So now that person's doing it, they got the ball rolling.
And we're
You
like,
don't like
ugh.
it? Well, at least we got the ball rolling. We tried, right?
And now we know the direction we're gonna try and go in.
That's
Yeah.
it's that same idea. You gotta fail. You gotta fail.
Even with the ideas of the content, we've had some flops.
Yeah. Why we still around? Why is Eat Sleep Race still around 20 years? Keep evolving. I don't care about failing. Fuck it. I'll try
Yeah.
something else. That T-shirt design was whack. Well, fuck it. That was my creativity that no one else liked. I fucking liked seeing it. Put that shit. So let's move on. Let's keep moving forward, right?
Yeah.
Yo, that idea sucked. Those ideas. Yo, we stopped doing them, right? You already know which one I'm gonna talk about
Yeah.
with Dean Kearney.
Yeah.
Yo, we were doing. We ripped
we
the
got put,
idea.
we got put in our place, bro.
Yo, but it
You
was
wanna
it was
talk
that
about
slap. It was
stealing
that punch in
ideas.
the chest. I told Nick the following year, I was like, yo, did you tell Dean we stopped doing it because of him? So here's what happened. We were doing the Daniel Max. We were going up to racers and saying, "What do you do for a living?"
Okay.
We figured it'd be like a different spin because like, oh, like,
He
you know,
asked celebrities or blah
talk
blah
about
blahs.
the race cars.
We're gonna ask race car drivers. We went up and asked. We did a couple dozen of them. A
We did a
couple of them went
couple.
viral. A couple of them did a couple million views. So we thought we were on a roll. We thought we were in our own lane doing it with car guys. Then we did it with the drifter, Dean Kearney. He's like, I'm not gonna
He was like, I'm not
answer that.
doing
He's
it.
like, I like you guys. We're actually like, we have a working relationship with him, right?
Okay.
So he's like, I like you guys. That's the reason I'm gonna be straight up with you. He's like, Daniel Mack's my friend. He's like, I actually hang out with him when I'm in LA. And he was like, I actually don't think it's cool that you guys are doing this because you're copying his idea. And me and Nick were like this.
You have no
One, you're crushing my heart because this is our art, right? We thought we were doing something original, and you straight up telling us, no, you're copying them, right? But respectfully, I like you, Dean. I appreciate you being able to tell me straightforward rather than answering and be like, yo, those dudes are corny, right? You copied my boy. That's what the majority of people would do. Yeah, they'd be like, yo, I'm too busy. That's what he could have done. Dean could have not said anything. Could have been like, yo, sorry guys, I'm busy right now. And when we walked away, could have been like, yo, that's corny as fuck, right? You guys are copying somebody else. But he didn't. Took the time to express his feeling, and we came back. We literally walked away from there. Looked at each other. We went like this.
Brainstorming.
No, we would go. He's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
All our plan. It was close to the end of the event, but like the rest of we were like, let's just not.
We're not even gonna try
entertain
asking
it.
no more. So we stopped, and we ended up coming up with other cool ideas.
So why did you guys think that was okay?
Because I still see it. I still see it to this day. Like, I actually follow this dude on who does what do you do for a living to people in New York, people on the street.
People do.
He actually just opened up a
people do
coffee
different
shop.
spins on it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like I feel like it goes one person does it, it goes viral, it becomes a trend, everyone does it. Some people try and copy it exactly, others find their own niche in it. Like for us, it was racing. There's people that do it with housing. They'll walk up to people and like their houses. And then those people that kind of niche out continue because it's like, okay, it's different than the car thing. Still kind of telling stories. Like each person kind of has their own different audience, right? Like I feel like Daniel Mack, let's say, has his own demographic versus, you know, people that are looking into housing properties. Like they don't want to drive cars like that. They want to buy houses like this. So it kind of turns into its own thing of like, you know, I think that's where the idea came from when Brian had suggested it. And then I think because it was so similar, because it is in the automotive space, that was more of like a hit to us of like, all right, maybe we should change this up.
And this might help the conversation. Do you define yourself as a business person or an artist?
Artist.
I define myself as a business person.
Okay. That makes total
Yeah.
sense, for sure.
So I'm 50-50 because there's other personalities, artists who are terrible at business because they just create art. I see you as a mix. You're an artist who's a business person.
For sure.
I'm a business person who's an artist.
Got you. Yeah.
So I don't want to create. I didn't want to invent the wheel. I want to improve the wheel. Right? I feel like you as an artist, you want to create something fresh and new, like Huffy Talk.
Yeah.
Right? Like my best-selling product for the brand, I didn't create the ABC book. Our best-selling product, I don't think I've ever said this before. Our best-selling product in the history of Eat Sleep Race is ABCs for future race car drivers. I didn't make the ABC book. I found the niche.
Yeah.
I like motorsports. I found a correlation here because my brother had kids. I conceptualized the book. I worked with an illustrator, and we released the book. And it turned into our best-selling product in the history of the brand, right? But again, that came from my mindset of being a business person first. Like, yo, I saw this other ABC book, like, yo, that's a cool idea. I think if I did that for motorsports, I could make some money, right? You see
For sure.
where the difference in our mindsets are there.
Yeah. I feel you.
So the same thing as a podcast. We didn't create podcasts. People have been telling us to do podcasts for years. But the reason why we continue to do podcasts, one, we enjoy them, but two, it's a catalyst for the brand. So many more people have heard of the brand now because we take the time to create the podcast,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I
But
totally
I think
agree.
there even though we're two different people, there's many things to be learned here because I think from this conversation it's going to inspire you and push you forward to be able to be an artist, to continue to create. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the future things that you're going to be creating because I know this is only the beginning.
Yeah, I would love to. You know, I wanted to get to that point. I've always said that I want to get to that point.
Yeah.
Just
Imagine Gucci is a fashion house. Louis Vuitton is a fashion house. These are all creative houses. Real estate, the best real estate designers in the world, they just conceptualize. They have architects below them who actually create the diagrams and the blueprints, right? They just conceptualize. What I'm trying to push you towards, the Downstar Creative House. Because you said it before, Downstar is not a hardware company. It's not a bolt company. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's just gonna keep creating.
yeah,
But you're the only person who could hold that back, and you're the only person who could push it forward.
for sure.
So the moment you start treating it on the business side and use your business side, the right side of your brain a little bit more than the left, is what's going to help you get even bigger and bigger and bigger and that many more. I don't know about you, like the moment we add people to this team, I get happier, right? Yo, we need another person to help us pack. Like we're growing. Other people would be like, nah, man, that's an expense. We're gonna spend money. Like, nah, man. Like, team is growing. Like, dude, one day I hope to see 5, 10 people behind the camera scenes and way more equipment and some serious setup, right? Like, that means we're growing, right? That makes me happy. And I'm sure you as a creator, you're gonna be the opposite of that. You're like, yo, I just pumped out that many more ideas out of my brain. I was able to do 275 episodes in 3 years. I did 275. You'd be like Rob Dyrdek, who did 275 in 3 months, right?
How he films ridiculous.
Yeah, how he films ridiculousness.
Yeah. No, you're right. The combos that I just have to have. It's few and far between.
Put it out into the universe.
For sure. It's out there, bro. I'm glad.
I think the biggest thing, and it might not be the first person, it might be the fifth person. I think the biggest thing that'll make you or might make you more keen to the idea is when you find someone that like really messes with your podcast. Like they really enjoy it and like what you got going on and really want to be a part of it.
And who has a skill?
Yeah, and who has the skill or at least the willingness to learn the skill to be the part of it because I feel like they'll have that initiative and you'll feel like okay this person actually cares about what I have going on and it'll kind of make you more open to it. Like I send Brian ideas at random ass times of like, hey, I have this idea. I think this would be cool for the brand. I think this would be a cool video. Like I'm just invested in it because I think it would be really cool to do. And that's why we keep doing ideas.
Maybe somebody will reach
If
out.
you're that person, how can they find you? Frank Downstar on Instagram?
Frank Downstar,
That's it.
Downstar.
Hit him up.
Hell yeah, bro. I love that. We'll manifest it.
So you started off saying you were a Honda guy, but you got an American car that you've been keeping in another garage for a long time. Talk about that.
This is my 69 Chevelle.
Oh,
So I've had that car since I was my son's age. From junior to senior year, I got it that summer.
That was your first car.
second car. First car was a 1980 Camaro. So I got that car. And I don't actually remember what happened to it. Broke or something. And then the neighbor across the street had the 69 Chevelle. The transmission was out on it. I got that car for $3,000 too. Now to think about it, my dad bought it for me, and he said I have to pay to get the transmission fixed, however much it was. I don't know, $900, something like that. Yeah, that car pretty much gave me my love for cars. Um, I learned how to work on cars with that car, and the first thing I did to it was had my dad install a stereo for me, and then I wanted to put speakers in it, cutting it out, putting speakers. My love for car audio grew with that car. I went down a whole rabbit hole with that and just built that car, started to have fun with it. That was my daily. That was my daily for a long time. I lived in northern Nevada for about 3 years, and that was my daily. I didn't have two cars until I lived in Nevada, probably about 2006, 7. Yeah, maybe about 2006 when I got my second car, which was my daily, so I didn't have to drive it to Chevelle. So I was driving it in the snow. Wherever I needed to go, that was the car I drove. And now it's in the garage waiting to come back to life, come back to the streets.
So how did you go from those American cars to Hondas?
Crazy story, dude. So I moved to Nevada and I was in a car audio, and I always wanted to work at Best Buy, even when I lived in Oxnard. I never was able to get a job right there. And then I moved to Nevada. My parents wanted to relocate. All right, cool. So when we moved there, they didn't force me to get a job. I didn't need money. So I chilled for about 8 months. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to apply at Best Buy to install. So applied and ended up getting the job for install. The lead at the time, he was a Honda guy. So we spent a lot of time together. And, just when you have a coworker that you work close to or what have you, you start to figure out what they're into, their hobbies. And he was into Hondas, and never clicked to me. I never really cared much about them because I had the Chevelle. Chevelle was like faster than Hondas, and speed was my only. It was not the only thing, but there was no attraction to Hondas. And at that time, Hondas were still body kits and underglow, and it was kind of like whatever to me. The more I worked with this guy, the more I got into Hondas. Then he was on forums, chatting, talking, selling parts. So then I naturally joined in because I didn't have any friends in Nevada. The only friends I had was maybe people I would meet at work, but still, it was always to myself. So I would go home, go on Instant Messenger, and talk to friends back home. And then I created a profile on NWP just because my buddy, I don't know why, but just another social network to be part of before social network was even a thing. He sparked my interest in Hondas. He would get right hand drives. I never I never even seen a car right hand drive. This is insane. He would tell me about, well, this is this, this, that. I don't know, but I was just soaking it in. We're hustling at the same time. He was a hustler too. And we would keep the factory stereos and sell them on eBay. And that was our thing. And we just vibed together. And then I moved back to Oxnard in 2007 and still stayed into Hondas, and the connects that I made or the friendships that I made through his friends, I managed to get my own right-hand drive. So the guy I worked with was Raul Ramirez, and he's the owner of Checkered Sports, which is
Oh,
a a huge brand that's in the Honda community to this day.
That's crazy.
And we were both just Mexican car installers that were hustling. And now we both support both of our families with the businesses that we created. Crazy, bro.
That's a cool story.
It's crazy, right? If you don't know who it is, it doesn't make sense. But people listening now, if they know who Checkered Sports is, like,
I'm not.
yeah, it's nuts, dude. We were literally installing together, doing amps and alarms. He taught me so much about automotive installation. And now we both have aftermarket brands that we sell for Honda parts and beyond. Like he sells parts for other cars. He's building crazy Tacoma right now. Check him out, man. It's crazy, dude.
So, do you only sell? Well, I'd imagine now that you've expanded a lot, but like, do you only sell Honda, or now you can do like for any car, make, model?
Yeah, we sell for a lot of different makes and models. Our big seller now is BMW. That's what brings us out here. So we were out here for the Impact show in Pocono Raceway, and this is our second time having a booth there. And yeah, I got into BMWs in 2017. My wife, when I met her, she worked at BMW, one of the largest BMW dealerships in our area.
Oh, so you had a plug.
I never knew I did. I didn't care. I didn't care about BMWs because I was into Hondas.
Yeah.
I had my right-hand drive. I had the Heavy in the Street TG, both K-swap, like both show cars. Like I never had a new car. All the cars, the newest car I had was an RSX DC5, but I had traded another car for that car. But I never had a car with payments. So I never even thought about it. The first car I ever bought with payments was in 2016, and it was for my wife. I bought her a new car. I just needed something. It was time. I don't know why. It felt right. I was gonna get a GTR. I was thinking, I want to get a GTR. They're fast.
Kind of a switch up going from a GTR to a BMW.
They're fast. They're ugly. GTRs, in my opinion, no disrespect, they're not the most beautiful car. They're insanely fast. So it only made sense. If I was going to spend X amount of money on a car, I wanted something that was fast. I had no concept in my mind of luxury at all. You should really just come in and check out a BMW. I'll go check it out. So I go to the dealership. I don't know anything about BMWs, bro. Nothing. I don't know. I don't even know what an M is. I don't know any series. I don't know anything, right? Check it out. She would always come home in gear. Now that I look at it, it's gear, bro. Jackets, shirts, whatever. They loved her. She would just take them off the rack and put on a jacket because she was cold. $150 jacket or whatever. You know how much BMW stuff is. I didn't care, dude. So I went to her work and looking around. Come in the basement. This is where they have the M cars, right under the spotlight. F82 M4, frozen white, red interior. The doors open. BMW light on the floor. This is like that sound. That sound, bro. I was like, oh my
You
god.
just hear angels when you see it.
The most beautiful car I've ever seen. This is in 2017. The
What was
car was brand
MSRP
new.
back then?
85 maybe. How am I gonna go from not having any car payment at all to buying an $85,000 car? What the hell? This is insane. But this is poor Frank talking, and not poor financially, poor mindset. Frank, why are you gonna do that? That's a waste of money. What is money? Money's a tool to buy whatever you want. Happiness. saw that car, I was like, just do it. Just do it. Go talk to him.
Was she that nonchalant about it?
She knows I work hard, dude. She sees me grinding. When the time that I met her, to the time I bought that car, 2012 to 2017, I probably did like 50 plus shows. Brian would see me, dude. I would roll up to H Day, open my rental, pull out 4 suitcases full of product, pull out some tables that I rented from Walmart, like put up a tent right there hustling all day. Sometimes dolo, bro, all across the country. Hustling, bro, just because that's what I had to do. Why? What was the bigger goal? I don't know, but this is just what I had to do at this time, So just do it. Talk to them about the numbers and shit like that. They hooked me up because they loved her, and they loved me because I knew them from like going to parties with her and shit, and
Yeah.
going there, and everybody was super cool. Probably like $1,200, something like that. Fuck it, bro. I went in there not even knowing if I wanted to get a car, what a BMW was, and I drove off the showroom in a 2017 frozen white M4. You can't explain that feeling driving home in that. Insane, dude. It's like, you can't explain it, bro. Amazing feeling, dude.
I've told you this in the past. I think it was like at an IBOC meet where I saw your product in a different light. Like, dude, you could easily do this for every car. And then I asked you back then, like, why aren't you doing other brands? Because back then it was strictly Hondas. But like, I would have had a completely different mindset than you with the BMWs. Like, as soon as I saw the M4, I would have. My first thing I would have done if I was in your business would have popped the hood. I'm replacing all this shit as soon as we get back, and we're selling BMW kits for M4s tonight.
It happened.
Did you do that?
That's what you did.
It happened. For sure. It happened.
And then, like, immediately, like, once that's done, I'm leasing this bitch for 6 months, and I'm getting another one. Because at this point, I could keep changing my shoes, because I'm going to just keep getting different kits. These are just my prototype cars.
For sure.
Right?
To learn over time. I'm my own teacher.
Yeah.
I have to go through, experiences. The things that you see is something that I won't see. But I won't see it if you don't tell me how you see it. And nobody takes the time to tell me how they see it. I'm in the tornado, bro. I'm in here by myself trying to figure this shit out. Like, I love perspective, dude. I soak it in. I want to learn. I'll take it. You tell me these things, I don't think like Brian don't know what he's talking about.
I learned that perspective from Ripatoon. So he was a guest on our podcast. He creates kits, supercharger kits for Mopars, but he's constantly buying the latest and greatest that comes out because that's his business, to make these things go fast. Can't make it go fast if he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he makes it go fast, he sells it because there's somebody who wants it. Because they're buying the parts from him. Like, yo, you don't got to buy the parts. Like, I have this one already. Already goes fast, proven. Word, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And then so he can move on to the next greatest fast thing. So I know you told me this many years ago, like the Lambo, like, yo, B, I'm buying a Lamborghini. Like, you manifested that, which I know it's coming around the corner soon. So it's the same thing. Like, obviously, when you get the Lambo, it's going to be fucking bolted down.
Bro, I have
It's not
100
selling.
plus piece kit ready to go for a Huracan. I haven't put it together. I haven't offered it.
But you used somebody's Huracan.
Somebody's car. Yeah. I used it, made a kit.
So you can't get a Huracan. You got to get something else.
No, I don't need my Huracan. I need my Huracan.
No, you don't need it because you already have the kit. You got to get something else.
No, that's my trophy. That's my trophy.
That's the car he's got to bring to all of the events as the showcase.
For sure.
It's the
I gotta
boot.
get
It's
into
the boots
the
No,
car.
but it already has so you got to get Aventador or something. I don't
No, I
know.
got to get into the community. The reason that the BMW stuff is so successful now is because I dove into it. I loved it. I had a passion for it. I got the car home probably that week, put a kit on it, made a kit, put it on the website from 2017 to 2000, whatever, 19. Sold a handful of kits, right? So the car was a lease. 2020 comes around. It's time to turn the car in. And I don't know what to get. I always loved the M6 Grand Coupe. Amazing car. So beautiful, and I heard when hooked up. Damn, that sounds like a muscle car, dude. I never even thought BMWs could sound like that. And at the same time, this is when COVID's happening and they're doing a lot of layoffs. We're already planning on, having a child and that my wife wasn't going to work anymore. You should see if you could get laid off. That way, at least you get some unemployment from it, You don't need to be working. She tells her work. And they're like, "Are you sure?" You're like, "Yeah." All right, cool. So they set her to get laid off. Still at that time, I'm like, "Man, I don't know." I I had sure there was a gap in time, maybe a couple weeks, a month or something. I don't know what to get. Maybe I'll just get just a Civic, just something daily until the time's right or whatever. When the M8 came out, the M8 came out in 2019, so the first year was 2020. M8 Grand Coupe, most beautiful car ever, dude. I loved it so much. Same thing. She just encouraged me. You should just get it. What the fuck? M4 was 80. Sticker on this shit is 150. Are you serious? This is insane. You work hard, dude. Every day, busting your ass, hustling, pushing forward. Nobody's telling you that you got to do it. Like you're doing self discipline. Like, you got to do it. Wife's usually the one that's talking you out of it. Yeah, do it, She's
Yeah.
telling you to fucking do it. If you want to do it, you got to do it because I'm going to be out of here and I'm not going to be able to get a deal or nothing on it. Let's do it. Okay. Let's see what they have in the area. Has to have red interior. Red's my favorite color. Has to have a black one with red interior. It's at another dealership. They could do a dealer trade for me. It's a favor. They never do this stuff. But like, want to do it? Yes or no? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. The car came on her last day of work. It's her last day. I didn't even test drive the car or nothing. I get there and see it. I'm like, this is crazy. Going there, sign the paper and everything. And I'm a poor kid from Oxnard, California, bro. Like, this is not even a dream because when I was dreaming, I couldn't even dream of something like this. Just to be in this position, to be able to do this. The stars aligning, everything worked out, and then everybody at her work just like stoked just to see like this happen. Got the car, same thing, drove it home. Like,
I was gonna say, how was that drive
bro, I
home?
couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop smiling, dude. It's just surreal. Just surreal that that happened, that I had that support team, that everything just worked out perfectly. I got that car, and then the things that I regretted not doing to the M4, I did them automatically to the M8. I got a tune. Like, pretty much like the first thing I did to it was I got a tune. So I got a Gintani tune. They're located in Van Nuys. They're the ones that do like the Lambos. They have the booth at SEMA. I'm sure you've seen them. They have like Aventadors, crazy tunes. They tuned that like new Lambo that just came out. Insane.
You got
Alex.
that one.
Yeah. Alex, I need to hook up. Alex and Tani. But I took the M8 there. They tuned it. Bro. Upper lower downpipes tune. Car's insane, dude. And I started posting it up and then I started meeting more people in the BMW community. Then it went from like having one kit to I had a kit for the M8 and then, hey, do you have a kit for uh, E90? No, but shit, anybody have an E90? Yeah, I have one. Come through. Made a kit. Now we have probably 35 plus BMW kits. Now, from 2020 to 2024, Downstar is a prominent name in the BMW community. To have a build, you'll have Venturi intakes, CSF coolers, Golden Wrench caps, and Downstar hardware kit. That build has been done hundreds, thousands of times. We go to the show and there's countless engine bays that have our stuff in there. It's just like, wow, that took us to the next level for sure, and gave me a new passion. Like I love BMWs, and I've learned so much about them. And yeah, dude, I love it.
Would you ever consider doing that with other cars, or you think just because you like them that much?
No, Frank's just holding himself back again because Frank could get into Mopars.
That's it for sure. And Frank
could get into Lamborghinis.
I've done a Hellcat kit. I've done a Lambo
Frank can
kit
do
before.
Ferraris.
Yeah, I haven't done.
Frank
a Ferrari
can do
yet.
Nissans, ugly Nissans.
For sure. Yeah. You know, I think the next market that we're gonna get into is Subaru.
By the way, Frank said they were ugly because I like GTRs.
It's the same car.
No, but you said you didn't.
It's
like
the same car from when it came out to right now.
Like
it's
it.
the same exact car.
I like it.
It's why do you like it though? Because it's fast?
No, because it looked good.
Why do people like?
I like what I like.
Why do people like the older GTRs? They're not available. That's how I see it. That's not a.
I just had this conversation
car.
this morning at the car meet with a bunch of other guys who have CRXs. Like, we're like a bunch of weird dudes who like CRXs because everyone thinks these cars are ugly. And I said what I said. I was like, I fucking smile every time I get into mine because I love this whole thing.
Oh my
Even
God.
though this bitch don't start every other time I try to turn it on. When I sit in it, I'm happy, and then when it does start, I get pissed. But I fucking love them old boxy ass cars, which is why I got 3 of them.
Sick. CRX.
You know,
sick.
Just whatever, like what you like.
Yeah, I think most people are brainwashed on the GTR. There's a hot take. Maybe.
I think there's definitely a crazy hype to it that, like, especially with Fast and Furious and the movies really like
for sure
hyping them up.
I don't know about you, but I've grown into liking cars. I didn't like CRXs when I had my EK. I manifested a CRX though. You know how? Look at that wall over there.
Oh snap!
I told you this.
No.
I never liked CRXs, and then something in me one day was like, kind of like looking at CRXs. Frank's selling a skateboard that has a CRX on it. Yeah, I'm gonna manifest this. I'm gonna buy that skateboard. I bet you I'm gonna end up owning a CRX.
No way.
I bought the CRX like 3 years after I bought that skateboard. I should buy more skateboards.
Yes.
The way that went, right?
We have another skateboard coming out with a G80 M3 on it.
Oh man, I gotta work a lot harder. Because the way my bank account works right now, it's not like yours.
I guess I just never grew up a car guy. I liked what I liked, and I built on that. Now I talk to so many people on the podcast, and they'll talk about like Initial D and Need for Speed and things like that, and it's like
you don't resonate with it.
I never did it, you know.
Well, what got you into cars then? I was the same way. I wasn't into cars until my friend got his license and was able to drive us to the skate park that we couldn't access because the trains didn't go there. That's like what got me into it.
The sound of a muscle car, seeing it tubbed out, seeing it like just the sound, the cam, it was crazy, bro. I loved it. I loved it so much. That's what made me get into cars. It's kind of in my family. Like my dad was into muscle cars too. Like him and his brothers had muscle cars, so it was just like I don't know if it's undeniable.
Is this all in good timing though? Because what got you into cars? You don't have one of those cars yet, like that you're passionately building.
What do you mean?
Like the muscle cars is the reason why you got into cars, but right now, like your pride and joys are a Honda and a BMW.
I sit in that car and it yells at me, dude. We can talk, and it is not happy with me. Because if I was, when I first got that car, if I was in this position, if I said, one day I'm going to have this, I'm my own business, this car's going to be frame off, it's going to be painted, it's going to be everything.
So it's still waiting. Like, when's my turn?
Bro, you know how close it is? Dude, a 383 stroker on it, fully built. I have a YN177 blower, fully polished on it. I have a FI Tech fuel injection carburetor on it. I have MSD. I have everything.
So what are you waiting to
Everything.
finish it?
For this podcast to come out, so that way we can debut it.
Bro, motivation, dog. Motivate. You can't make motivation. It just comes and goes. Comes and goes. I was motivated on it, and it didn't want to start. And I tried, and I pinpointed what the issue was. The fuel pump went out. I bought a new fuel pump, and I haven't even opened the box. The fuel pump is just sitting in my garage because the motivation left. You know, when the motivation is there, it's amazing, and you have it, but it goes. You know, the motivation is not always there. So it'll come around and it'll get done. But when I feel that it's important enough to me to get done.
I feel like that was the reason why I got back into Hondas. I felt like I owed it to myself. Like, Hondas is why this brand exists. And I didn't have a Honda for many years because Hondas brought me a lot of sadness. Because when my car got
I remember
stolen,
that.
I never felt that sad in my life. So I stepped away because I was like, dang, Hondas hurt me. Broke my heart.
I bet, dude.
Right? But then I felt like I owed it to myself, like after growing the brand and, got the Viper, went through so many other types of cars that weren't Hondas, like I owe it to myself to get back into a Honda, which is now I end up having how many Hondas? I don't even know. 5, 4.
Bro, I feel you, dog.
4?
I got the 87 CRX, the 91 CRX, the 90 EF, the RDX, the TSX, the EK. What else?
Damn, you have a 90 EF?
The
What
white
color
one.
is it?
The white one. I got a black 91, and then the white 90 EF, and then the white 87. Yeah, so what was that? 7, 6 Hondas?
I would love to have any.
But that was how many years ago? They're like, bro, you don't even have a Honda, and you run H Day, right? Back when I was a production manager for
Yeah.
H Day, like, this dude doesn't even drive a Honda. At one point, Hob bought me a Honda to drive daily because he's like, dude, you can't work here and not have a Honda. Like, you got to drive this thing every day. I'm like, I have a Lexus. I have a VIP Lexus on airbags that I love. Like, bro, no, you got to drive this Honda. You got to connect with the brand.
Yeah, I feel you.
But then at some point, I was just like, nah, I owe it to myself. And then I went on a splurge, like, bought how many Hondas in 1 year? So I feel like you're going to get that itch one day. And I hope to see you in a pro mod.
I don't have no desire for racing.
I mean, you got to get a badass American car. You said you love the sound of them. You love tubbed out. Pro mod,
For sure.
the epitome of it, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely get that
Show
car.
car pro mod.
Yeah. That's another market to get into also.
Yeah, I'll
We haven't
introduce you
even
to my
tapped
guys at
into.
Drag Illustrated. They'll hook you up, put you into that market. If we're talking pro mods, those are the best guys to talk to.
It's untapped, dude. Like, everybody just rocks either Chrome or ARP, which is cool. No disrespect, but it's like we could definitely go in there and have our flavor on it. But I just need to be in the moment of it. I don't want to force anything. I'm more artist than business,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
Because you can see it like, well, why don't you do standard
Because
hardware?
let's say you partnered somebody whose business, this all would have been done already.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Just watch
Maybe.
it. I just watched this thing about this food and acai bowl. You know acai bowls?
Yeah.
Acai bowls?
Acai?
Yeah, acai bowls. So anyway, like I just watched this thing on YouTube during lunch today. So it was a small shop that opened down the shore. They had one. They started off with a cart, then they opened up the store, and they opened up a couple stores on their own, and then they realized, man, that's a lot of work. But an investor came in as a partner who was very business minded, Now they have several hundred locations. The business is valued at a couple hundred million.
Oh my god.
But it's the same way. Like we would have never imagined this because we thought just running a couple shops is hard. Like, yeah, they were successful. Like we thought that was it for us. But like, cool. Most restaurant owners only own one restaurant. Like we have like 3, 4 stores. Thought that was it. Our end all be all. Like, yeah, cool. We got profitable restaurants. Can't really do much beyond the 4 of us because we're spread thin. 4 stores of 2 people.
Yeah.
But then this outside investor who knew how to scale business restaurants came in and was like, "No, we could franchise it. We don't know nothing about franchising. Don't worry about it. I'm the partner who does know." Grew that business several hundred stores up about you'd at several hundred million in I think they said 3 years. It was wild.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like rapid growth. But would have never happened if they didn't bring in a partner who was business minded.
For sure.
And they're still doing what they like to do, creating the menu. That's the whole reason why they started the business to begin with. They went to Costa Rica to surf, and she was making acai bowls for herself, and her boyfriend at the time was like, "Yo, make me some." Like, keep coming up with these crazy, like, different tasty bowls. Like, "Yo, we should start a business out of this." So her whole thing was, I enjoyed making the menu, and that's what she does today. Keeps innovating. Doing the good side, doing what she does to enjoy on the business side, right? While this new partner just does the business, which she didn't care about. Just reaping the reward.
I mean, it
Reaping the
makes
reward on
sense.
both ends, reaping the reward on the money and reaping the reward on being able to indefinitely create
Yeah, for sure. It's
as an artist.
making sense, and it's always made sense. It's just having to talk about it, plant the seeds and see where it goes. But I feel you. Like you're not saying anything that's wrong. It
Yeah.
makes total sense.
I'd rather have a piece. I've said this before in the past. Like Eat Sleep Race is going me to like I'm dying owning Eat Sleep Race. Like I'll work so hard that I hope the business lasts my life and that I could like pass it on to somebody, right? But now I now know I enjoy creating that if somebody comes in here and says, "Yo, I could take Eat Sleep Race to a different level, but I gotta buy it from you." Cool. I'm just gonna create something else. Because that's I thought in the past when I created Eat Sleep Race, like I thought that was it. Like I made Eat Sleep Race and this is all I could create ever again. Nah. Like we're artists. We just create, right? If you think you can make it way bigger than what it is and could show me on paper you can make it better than what I've done with it, I'd be more happy seeing that. Cash me out. I'm gonna go create something else
Mm, yeah.
and make this even bigger. And I hope to see it all over the place, knowing I made that. I'm happy with what I got for it, and I'm even happier seeing it bigger than what I could have done on my own. I'm limited to me.
Yeah.
I'm not the best business person. I'm not the best artist, but I'm doing. I'm being able. I've been blessed with the opportunity to continue to create for myself, right? So I'd rather have a small piece of something bigger than rather have 100% of something small,
Mm,
right? So if that opportunity ever came for Eat Sleep Race to get bought out, I'd be like, "Yo, can I sit on the board? Can I still hold a percentage of it while you guys grow this into a multi-billion-dollar company?" Because if I knew how to do that, I would have done it already, right?
yeah.
If I knew how to make it that big, it would have been done. So the same way, like, nah, man, we've done this before. Bet, make it happen.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if that were the case, my small percentage of something huge would probably be even bigger than my 100% of what it is, just the way it is today, right?
Yeah. I'm not there. I I would never sell
Took me a
Downstar.
long time to get to this.
Yeah, I would never sell it. I don't know how I'll feel in the future, but that's not where I'm at right now. I love where everything is at. There's things that I would want to be different. There's other things that I would want to, spend more time on. But I love it where it's at right now, and it is me. The brand is me. Like I couldn't see. I can't even see getting rid of the Chevelle. I can't even see getting rid of the right hand drive. Like those cars are a part of me. For what? Financial gain? That no, that doesn't bring any excitement. But to each their own.
Yeah, that's the art. That's the artist in love with the art, right? So I say that all the time about like my friends who have cars who constantly sell them. Like, dude, I can't get rid of this Viper. Like, how the heck did you just build that car and it's gone, right? Like, I have a hoarding problem with these cars.
Yeah.
Like, it's mine. Like, I made that. I can't get rid of it. But at the same time, with the business, with the brand, my goal is different than yours, in which I want this to be a behemoth. So if somebody could do it better than me, do it because you're accomplishing my personal goal of making it a behemoth,
Mm,
right?
for sure.
Eat Sleep Race is it. It has a potential. I've slow played it, and I'm happy with the growth of the brand. I've been the turtle in this race of versus a lot of rabbits, but I'm everything happened organically, right? And 20 something years into this, it's a household name. Nike, Adidas, that's the future I see for Eat Sleep Race. I want it to live beyond me. To It was one of the original motorsports brands ever created, and I want it to be the household name of a motorsport brand in the future. So I know in order for that to happen, the brand needs to grow beyond me. Because if it doesn't, it dies after I die.
Sound like 100 Pro Jason.
I sound like Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Because if Steve Jobs treated it how you're treating it, there'd be no Apple today. The innovation would have stopped. If there were no more innovators at Apple, Apple wouldn't grow anymore,
I totally get.
right?
Yeah, no, I
The
totally
legacy's
get
gone.
what you mean.
Yeah. We need more Franks at one point when you're ready for it. So Frank is the creative director. We need more artists under Frank in the Downstar creative factory. I got Downstar Skate. Blase blah, you handle Downstar Skate now. I'm gonna feed you all the ideas for you to grow it, but you gotta grow it. You're growing Downstar hardware. You're growing Downstar apparel, whatever it may be. But that's how the brand lives beyond you. I've accepted that years ago. Like I don't want it. I don't want it to die after me.
Yeah, everyone has their own goals,
Yeah.
you know,
Just like you said, it's the growing into it, right?
for sure. Yeah. The way that I look at it right now, it is me. The brand is me. So when you see something come out of it, see me create something, that's something that I created and I wanted to bring it to life.
One that you could relate with, Huff. Keith Huff Nagel, right? I actually, when he passed, I thought that was the end of Huff. I actually know one of, I don't even know if he's the creative director, Rex. He's grown the brand bigger than it's been. You know, like I went to Hawaii. They have a store in Hawaii now.
Mhm.
Like, yo, that's dope. That's what I want to see beyond me too. I hope I could bring the brand to that point where it's even it grows beyond just me, right?
For sure.
So Huff just did. They just dropped re-released their Air Max ones with Nike. I don't know if you guys saw that. They're SBs. Come on, bro. SB fans right here. So yeah, no, like I love it. I love it. Like the LRG still lives on after Jonas died, right? Like legacy,
Yeah.
right? I think that for me that's the cool part, and I feel like that's my job. I'm not. I got to be better at it, but for when I created this, I wanted to I wanted to be like those brands, right? I always looked up to those brands growing up,
Mm.
which is the reason why I'm in this, right? Polo, like Stussy,
Yeah.
like these are the brands I looked up to, and it's like, damn, I'd like to achieve that.
I feel you.
I'd like to grow my brand to be like those brands, right?
Yeah. I just think I don't want Downstar to be the next here,
Yeah.
even though I love like inspiration, Nikki Diamond or whatever, inspiration, Adam 22. I don't want my podcast to be like no jumper. It's just that there's certain things that I admire that I think would be ideal, something like that. But
Because what you're creating, no one else. I see what you're getting at. What you want to create, no one's done. Which is why you say you don't want to be like anyone because no one's done it.
I just want to do me. That's it. I just want to do me, and who knows what I'm gonna be into. 5 years ago, I didn't even know I was gonna be back on a skateboard. Now I have a skate brand, skate shop, collab decks. Who knows? But the next thing that I'm gonna be into is gonna be like genuine. It's gonna be an extension.
Maybe you might be a rapper.
Who knows? I've always said that I think that I can rap. Like rap has been in my life since I was a child. I've been a fan of music ever since I've been a child. Who knows? This is my outlet.
Yeah.
Downstar is my outlet
Yeah.
to create, to do whatever I want, and to share my creations with the world. And that's why it's good to have these kind of conversations, because I don't know what people, I don't know what they think of the brand. I don't know what they think of me. I don't know what they think it is, but this is how I see it. And whether anybody else sees it like that or not, that's cool. Like I literally created something out of nothing. There was there was a void that nobody even knew that there was a void, and we filled it. You know, in everything that I do, it's just there's a passion for it, and sometimes if the passion fades away or it's not as important as it was to me at that time, then I'll fall back. Same thing just like with podcasting. It wasn't as important to me as it was at one time, so I fell back. And I love to have that freedom. That is freedom to me, to be able to have the Chevelle, and I'll work on it when I do. I'll drive it when I want. When I get that itch, it'll be there, and I can take that toy out of the closet and play with it. And when I don't feel like that anymore, I'll put it back. But I have it; it's ready to go, and I'm ready to do whatever. And if I put my time into it, like the Honda stuff, that right-hand drive, I could put it up against anybody's car. It was at its most pristine point at 2016. I'll bring it out today, polish it out or something, clean it up a little bit.
Do you think if this opportunity ever came up, like if this opportunity came up this year, what would you do? So I'll use this as an example. Rotiform, right? Rotiform, I believe it was Wheel Pros bought bought the brand, right? Rotiform still exists, making probably more product than they've ever made in the past, but Wheel Pros bought the brand. What if ARP was like, "Yo, Frank, well, can we buy Downstar hardware? We can make this huge." Would you entertain it?
It's funny because ARP is literally 2 minutes from where we're at right now.
Like their headquarters?
Mm-hmm.
Would you entertain that?
No, it's just money. I'm not hurting for money. The money's gonna come, and it'll come
But
if I
they're like,
want
you
it to
could
come.
continue to create, like, the brand is the brand.
This is mine. This is me. This is who I am. It's not no. However, however that comes off, I can't call it. You know, that's just that wasn't my intention. That's not my goal. This is if I wanted to have a kit for every single car, I could do it. What's it gonna take? Time, more on your plate, right? So you could get to that goal, right? Like I said with my family. Like if I didn't spend those year and a half, those 2
Not
years,
necessarily.
how so?
You could hire somebody instead of you having to measure every single car, instead of Frank having to
For
physically
sure,
make them all. You don't even have to hire anyone. You can freelance that. Like,
for
yo,
sure. There's definitely options to do, for sure, and that's
yeah,
that's always something that I'm always juggling. There's never a lack of things that need to get done,
yeah.
and it'll get done when it's time. And if I made it happen right now, then it would get done soon. I have a problem with overwhelming myself and stressing out and carrying all the weight of all the things going on. It's a lot to manage, and that's something that I'm still figuring out. I know it's an opportunity, and I'm working on it, and it'll happen. But whether it happens now or it happens in 5 years, it's not nothing. Nothing is gonna change. I'm just gonna get what I can get in 5 years now. Like you said, it's just about the journey, and this is the journey. And every day of my life, I appreciate the ups and the downs
Yeah,
that it
I
has.
mentioned these things, like you said, you don't have other people, outside of your tornado. I mentioned these things because these things are totally possible. That acai bowl example I just gave you, I think ARP is that example to you. ARP could be that investor that comes from the outside. Like, you only got BMW and Honda right now. You only have 4 restaurants. I'm the professional at what I do. I could come in here. I could turn this into 300 restaurants, valued at a couple $100 million company in 3 years. ARP could come in and be like, "Yo, Frank, you got BMWs and Hondas right now. We're the pros at this. You'd keep running the brand like you do, creating everything that you do, but we could put you on every single platform because we already have the measurements. Tonight, we could sell. You keep running the company. We have everything you need already. Just that idea, right?
Chilling. I'm chilling, bro.
I see it the same way. Like if the Cybils people said that, like, yo, you're bugging, right? If like in retrospect and they looked at it right now, like, yo, we have 400 stores and we're chilling. Like, I'm doing what I do. I keep making the menu, keep inventing the food, chilling.
It depends on your goal.
Yeah.
You know, what is your goal? What do you want it to be? Money is not my end all be all. Being on every single car isn't my end all be all. Have a car, have a kit for a Nissan Altima, Toyota Corolla. That's not my end all be all. Like when we make a kit, it's a gift to that platform. That's how I look at it. If anybody else looks at it like that or thinks that's funny or ridiculous, that's fine. It was a gift for us to enter into the BMW community. And that's how I see it. That is the artist standpoint.
Yeah.
If I get into podcasting where this becomes a weekly, bi-weekly show, this is a gift to the podcast community. I'm giving my art to all of these outlets. That's the way that I see it. We're doing amazing right now. Like I've surpassed any sort of goals that I thought that I would ever have as a child. Everything that I've ever wanted, I've got. Literally everything I've ever wanted. This is but beyond my wildest dreams because I didn't even have the capability to have a dream like this. I didn't even know that it was possible. I'm not lacking. The only thing is you just EQing. You're just tweaking. Do I want to be chilling in Hawaii on a beach with a umbrella in my drink? No. Some people will. You know, it's I. There's nothing wrong with that.
Writing in his notebook.
There's nothing.
Creating.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just I I say these things that I want them, and it would be nice to have them. But I know it's possible. And if I wanted to, I know what I would have to do. Just have to tap in. I created this brand out of nothing, literally nothing. There's no blueprint. We've been in business since 2009, 15 years. Every year has been bigger than the last year, and bigger and bigger. Like the brand does not get to a point where it's stagnant, and I gotta figure out shit. What do I gotta do next? Maybe I'm spoiled. I don't know. Where's the brand gonna be at in the future? I don't know, but I'm along for the drive. I'm on the journey. I didn't have to come out to the show. I could have sent some employees out here to work the booth. My cousin and I made dreams or made memories that we're never forgetting. Riding down the street when it's raining on a city bike. That's what it's about. You know, it's about going to these shows and meeting these people and having these conversations. Like that's the value to me. Was it financially beneficial? Yeah, a lot. Nothing that's gonna nothing that's gonna move the needle. But whatever. These are memories that I'm gonna have forever, and that's all I have is my memories. Hey bro, remember the last time? Remember we went to do this or do that? We had this for lunch. Like that's where it's at. That's my value. To be able to do this and say that this is my job. This is my business. This is what I do. And I don't know if other people will get it or see the value in it, and that's okay. But who knows? 5 years from now, I could think totally different about it. I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. You know?
Yeah. Like you said, Frank 5 years ago is completely different than Frank today.
For sure.
That's kind of the beauty of it too, because like you have free reign to do whatever you want on your own terms. You know,
Yeah. That's really that's like freedom. That's all I really want. Is freedom. Buy back more of my time. I can do whatever I want. Cut the lawn. Like
Go to the skate park more.
go to the skate park. Whatever I'm into. What if I get into lawn tools? Like anything. If I sell it to ARP? Oh, hey, I want to focus more on skateboarding. No, that doesn't go along with our bottom line. Partner up with somebody. No, I want to do this because I want to do this. And nobody's going to tell me what I can do and what I can't do.
I feel like that's a very big concern and something that we're starting to see a lot, especially in the content space of like companies will be bought out and it ends up not being originally what it is anymore. Like a lot of media channels over the past couple of years have started to be like that. Like Donut, for example, these guys are getting back into their creativity and what they wanted to do originally when they started in Donut because of, whatever the corporation that bought them out wants to do now. And they have successful channels now. And they're doing the things that they want to do because it's like they're the artists of their content, working on the cars, doing all that. They're doing it their way, how they wanted to see it, and they don't have to answer to anybody anymore.
It's different perspectives though, because you're talking from the content creator side, which are employees, versus the owners. So I'll use Hoonigan for example. Brian Scotto's the owner. Everyone who were creators on the channel doing their own thing now because they didn't like whatever for their own reasons the new company that bought them. But Scotto, who sold the company, sold it for his personal reasons, right? So it's like everyone has their own take on it because Donut, the guys that you're referring to, were only
The employees of it.
staffers for Donut. You don't know what the real purpose of the person who owned Donut sold for, right?
Well, if you were to, let's say, taking Eat Sleep Race, for example, right? Like if you were to sell Eat Sleep Race, but you were still on the board, but not as like majority, I feel like it's similar because you're not exactly a staff member. It's more like you're extremely high level staff member. Like somebody else still has say at the end of the day,
Yeah.
And you as one of the creators or the original creator could just be like, okay, I'm gonna go kind of start and do my own
Yeah,
thing
I
now.
mean, I see it. I see it in so many different businesses. It really, you got to be happy at the end of the day. Whatever
Yeah.
makes you happy, right? So for that same reason, like some people want to stay on just to say you have a piece of it still, and the other people are like, nah, like I want to move on to something else, right? So unfortunately for the staff members who love the original platform, it doesn't align with what the owner's personal goal is. And the owner of the brand, unfortunately, it's what makes him happy. It's his brand. It's not mine. I helped him build it, but it's not my brand. Got to respect that, right? It's like he moved on. You guys don't like whoever took over, so you got to move on too and do what they're passionate for themselves, right? They got to.
Yeah.
The end of the game here is wish everyone happiness, right?
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy.
For sure.
I hope freedom and happiness.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Like, yo. Oh man, then we'll open a big can of worms, but I'll just leave it at that. Yo, Frank, we appreciate you coming to the podcast.
Thank you, bro.
I'm looking forward to a podcast in 5 years.
Hell yeah, bro. Me too.
And even if it's
man.
not a podcast, I hope we get on the phone and catch up in 5 years and reflect on this conversation.
Hopefully it doesn't take 5 years.
Well, like I say, like in the future, because we don't know what Frank's going to be in 2 years.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're going to stay in touch till then. But I like having this now recorded as a reflection of, yo, you remember? You remember when we said that? You remember when Bryce said he was going to buy a bunch of skateboards with all different cars, and now he got a room full of skateboards with cars on them, and now he got all them cars in the garage? Because he manifested it.
Brian does it the other way.
Yeah.
That's his goal, to do it the other way. Buy the boards and then the cars to match.
this is just a moment in time. You know, this is just today, how I'm feeling today with how everything is
Yeah.
up to this point. Who knows what the future will hold? You know,
I'm
forever
You know what? You
evolving.
know what I hope the future holds for all of us? Good health
That's
and
it.
being alive
I'll take
and
that.
being happy and having some freedom.
I love it, bro. I'll take that any day, no
And I wish
matter
that
what.
on everyone else who's watching this. Great health for everybody because,
Please.
you know, we're living in some wild times. If you like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe. Frank is a very interesting individual and artist. Follow him on his social media at Frank _
Downstar.
Downstar
Yes,
or
sir.
at Downstar Inc.
Just
Just at Downstar.
Downstar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Till the next episode.